at yahoo.com. That's Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. Looking for an aggressive person who can help our platform expand into many avenues in our business? Reach out if you are the person that's able to make a difference. The Big O Radio Show is looking for partners to join our growing platform. If your business is ready to reach an audience that starts in Florida, crosses the nation while expanding internationally, this is the program that provides that vehicle. The Big O Radio Show is ready to broadcast live anywhere in the world to represent your event or product. To reach out by phone, 786-754-4664. That's 786-754-4664. Or email bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. Help us grow as we provide the content and personal connection corporate entities will never achieve. The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Alrighty. Good morning, boys and girls. It is Thursday, so you know what that means. We are at Hialeah Park Casino. We're in the second floor poker room out here hanging out, so hopefully you guys can come on by and hang out with us. I'm hoping later on next month, January 28th, you all will be hanging out with us because we'll be out here broadcasting live. We're going to be giving away some tickets to a major boxing event here at Hialeah Park. So you're going to be able to see a lot of Cuban boxers, young, talented Cuban boxers, some big names on this card. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be an opportunity for a lot of you to maybe catch a rising star or two down the line. You're going to say, whoa, I saw that guy over at Hialeah Park in his early run to stardom. So a lot of things to do out here at Hialeah Park, and we'll be out here at the second floor poker room. So if you want to come on by and say hi, we got Sean Stanley by my side, of course, rocking and rolling. We got, let's see, Joe Shad will join us at 11:30. So the insider for the Palm Beach Post will join us at that time, and we'll have a little fun with him with our AmericanDreamLending.com Miami Dolphins report. And then at noon, Matt Verderame is going to join us from Fansided, and Matt does an excellent job, and we'll talk a little bit about his power rankings for Fansided. So looking forward to talking to Matt at noon. So we'll have some fun with those guests. Of course, I know Steve Calabro will be stopping by, and he'll give us his wise guy picks. Up until last week, the wise guy had hit on 8 of 9 picks. Okay, so, he's 8-1, the wise guy. So those picks are coming in strong from the wise guy. So that's strong stuff there. We'll talk to Steve and get the latest on what's going on here at Hialeah Park, and obviously we got to get the wise guys picks, which is really that's become like a must now in a way that we've got to get a handle of that. Steve Chapman, I see, is in the house already. Says feels great having a meaningful late season football again, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. It's great to have games that matter. And it just, it's the way you get to build up for the game now, right? You get your friends, your family members over, the butterflies build up, because it's not just a ho-hum, hey, what's our draft pick position type game at the end of the year. No, it's you win, you got a shot to get into the playoffs, that kind of stuff. So I think that's obviously incredibly important. So I'm with you there, Steve. Jamie Zorrilla checking in from San Jose, California, as always. He says, excited and nervous for this upcoming game. I agree. And of course, he reminds everybody to smash the hell out of the like button. Very important that you do that. Cal Grow in. GP Trap Hewitt is in. Ian from Brooklyn already. Karen S. says, Jerome Baker won AFC Defensive Player of the Month. Very impressive. It's nice to see that they play him now more like what they were playing him last year and unleashing him. and then playing him on the outside. He's never been a guy that really should be a middle linebacker, and dealing in traffic and fighting off, guards and things like that. That's just not really his game, to do something like that. So that's why I'm glad that he's playing now more his natural position, and the game is coming to Jerome Baker, and it's allowing him to play his kind of game. You know what I mean? And that's been kind of the tough thing that, for a defensive coach, he's made, several mistakes on players now this year in the way he's handled them. And Jerome Baker's one, and obviously Jalen Phillips was the other, that they didn't play them the right way at the beginning of the year, and then all of a sudden now you switched it up, and now they're responding because they're playing to their natural positions, and that's always so important. We always talk about how scheme is very important to a player, but coaching is very important to a player, because if the coach doesn't understand the player and its talents, and then doesn't know how to put that player in position to be successful, then you're going to set them up for failure, and you're going to set your team up for failure. Rest in peace. Tony Sparano was a really good guy, right? But there were decisions at times that were just absolutely baffling. And one was, you sign Reggie Bush and you want to make him a running back. And that was the oddest thing in the world, that you were trying to make Reggie Bush. And look, I don't care personally if Reggie Bush had this, ego thing inside of him that he wanted to prove to people that he wasn't a pass catching back, a third down back, a scat back, those kind of things. That's who he was. Sorry. I get it, dude. You're a Heisman Trophy winner, and you think that you're going to become, a Walter Payton, Eric Dickerson, Emmett Smith type. That's not who you are. And that's where a coach gets a player and misuses him badly. You know what I mean? And Reggie ended up injured for the final game of the season, because that was the thing also you were worried about, was durability. It was a miracle he lasted the whole season. You know what I mean? But also incredibly dumb, because you should have used him as a pass catcher, and you would have gotten way more production out of Reggie. But it is what it is. It's very important that a coach understands what a player can and cannot do, because that's how you know to put that person in the position to be successful on a continuous basis. And when you don't do that, you'll have failure like you had early on with Jerome Baker and early on with Jalen Phillips, because you weren't playing them the right way. So, it's just stuff like that you've got to adjust to as a coach, and get it straight. Herman Cueva in, Dennis Ramirez in, Josh Keppel in, Sean Campbell in. He says, morning, was that New Orleans game. Now headed to Nashville for the game on Sunday. Dude, I envy you big time. Looks like we have some snow flurries on Sunday. That'll be fun. I like it. I just want to see that defense go after Tannehill, and I think they're going to force him into a bunch of mistakes. Dougie Fresh is in. He says, props to Jerome Baker. Great person, great player. He is a good dude. Let's see. Bruno Diaz, 305, says, Big O, Miami diehard from Huechete, right where Sports Grill on Bird Road is at. I'm a military Navy in Chesapeake, Virginia, that listens to you every day. Love you, bro. No Homer, I think is what you're saying. Yes. I am with you, brother. Thank you. And thank you for serving. And thank you for protecting our freedoms and our rights, my brother. Appreciate you. And one day we want to see you at Sports Grill. It may not be this season, because obviously you're a little busy right now. But if you happen to be in town next year we'll be at the Doral location. And that place is going to be just popping, dude. It's going to be explosive. It's going to be awesome at that place. It's going to be rocking. Juan is in. Alex Vigil is in. And from Albuquerque, a little New Mexico love. I always love when you guys tell me where you're listening from, because it's always cool to know, because I know it's like all over the world. So it's always good to know where people are watching, because that's why I always say it's South Florida fans all over the world, because it's Canes fans that live in Albuquerque, or Dolphin fans that live in Albuquerque, or Dolphin fans that live in Malaysia, or Canes fans that live in Portugal. You know what I mean? So it's freaking awesome. So I love it, and that's the beauty of the internet and YouTube and SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify. It makes the world really tiny, and we can all connect no matter where we're at in the world, man. Coolest thing in the world. So thank you out there in Virginia. Oscar Quintero, Reggie had back-to-back 1K rushing season. No, I don't think so. I think he only had one. I'm pretty sure he only had one. I don't think he had back-to-back, my man. You can look it up there for me, Sean, but I'm like 100% sure that Reggie didn't rush 1,000 yards back-to-back. I know he ended up getting over 1,000 yards that season, but 1,000 yards is garbage. That's 60 yards a game, 65 yards a game. That's not impressive, okay? If you want a full-time back and you want to be impressive, we have to start in the 1,200 range, okay? That's where I start to get impressed on a season. 1,000 yards is nothing, dude. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did that a couple times too, and he was nothing, nothing special. 1,000 yards isn't anything to brag about in the NFL. That's just what do you have? He had for Miami 1,086 and then 986. So yeah, there you go. So he didn't have the 1,000 like I said, and he averaged 5 yards a carry, and he had 6 touchdowns on 216 carries. 1,086 is nothing. It's and then he had 986 and averaged 4.3 in 16 games. Then in Detroit, he had 1,006 yards. Maybe that's what you're thinking, that he had another 1,000 in Detroit, 4.5. You know what I mean? His rushing when he was good, 565, 581, 404, 390, 150. That's Sean Payton. Okay? Sean Payton looks at Reggie Bush and says, "You're not a running back. You're a pass catcher." Okay? And so then he runs for 565 but catches 742. See what I'm saying? That's 581, then 417, 404, 440, 390, 335. When you rushed him for 1,086, he had 296 yards pass catching. You know what a waste that is? That's where he's good, in the open field, not between tackles. What do you think this is, high school or college again? Talk about the NFL, man. Anyway, either way, it was incredibly stupid to use Reggie Bush. That's why Detroit and Miami use him as a running back, and Sean Payton uses him as a pass catcher. That's all you need to know, ladies and gentlemen. Real coaching, terrible coaching, right? Miami, Detroit, terrible coaching. New Orleans, exceptional coaching. Again, understanding what you have in front of you, understanding the talent. Sean Payton clearly understands talent. Sperano and whoever the clown was in Detroit, I don't know who it was at that time, but either way, they didn't know what the hell to do with him for 1,000 yards. But by the way, just once again, Sean, I'm just jealous of you. You went to New Orleans and now you're going to Nashville. That is so freaking awesome, man. What else do we have here? D. Doral says, FYI, the YouTube menu is listing previous shows first, and only because I kept scrolling did I find today's show. Keep up the great work. D. Doral, dude, there's something called the notification bell. And that's it, bro. The notification bell, you hit it, and it tells you right away when it pops up, and you'll see it right there. It'll be at the top. It'll say live. If we're live and you hit the main logo, when you go into the first page, the live video will be the top video and it'll be going. I know because I hit it on mine. That's how I'm watching. It's a little delayed, obviously, but I'm watching the YouTube feed right now in front of me. So I have to do the same thing you guys do, and I find it every single day. It's not really hard to find. So you just got to hit the main logo, and once we start, it's the top. It's the one that says live. You know what I mean? But notification bell. This is why I always tell you guys, please smash the like button. Very, very, very important. Subscribe and hit that notification bell, because the notification bell will tell you when Sean fires it off live, when Sean drops a new video. So if Tua spoke to the media and he puts the video up, you will then, the notification bell, you'll get the notification to a press conference. Now you can check out the Tua press conference, Flow press conference. Now you can check out the Flow press conference. Whatever it is, Marlins, Inter Miami, I mean, Panthers, you name it. He puts up all the press conferences. So it's actually really cool if you have the notification bell, because that will tell you when we're on live, like at the end of the month here on the 28th, that we got to be here for the boxing match. When we go live, the notification bell will tell you, hey, we're live. And now you can catch some of the boxers and trainers and all those kind of and media members that are going to be here covering the event, and we'll be talking a little boxing then. Okay. Juan is in. Good morning, sir. Alex Vigil. What else do we have here? Ron G. I remember when Reggie was 5 or 6 yards short of back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. He was pissed. Anthony Campos. Big O Sean still slacking on the T-shirts. No wings for him Sunday. Club sandwich he can have. LOL. And that's it. You get a club sandwich, apparently. He's got to have his wings, bro. NorCal says wake and bake from snowy California. Yeah, baby. You guys need all that snow anyways, man. The out west, I'm happy for them that they're getting pounded by snow, because all those lakes are all dried up and they need as much ice as possible to melt into those rivers and lakes, man, in a big time way. So bake all you want, NorCal. You're stuck inside the house, all that good stuff. Good for you. Oscar Quintero is in Fort Myers. Reggie was good with us. Yeah, I mean, he was good. Could have been better, but he was good. Robert Triana in. Campos says, Big O, I'll be there this Sunday at the Sports Grown Bird Road. Facts, I'm excited. You nailed it with Hollins. Should replace Wilson. I also like Isaiah Ford. Always makes a play. Yeah, he's always been prepared. That's what I love about Isaiah, man. He's a pro's pro. Herbert Valdez is in from Los Angeles, California. All righty. Nice job by you, Herbert. Thank you for tuning in and keeping it locked here. Francisco Rivero says, it's going to be funny if Ryan lights up the Fins. Miami fans talking so much garbage this week. I've seen this movie before. It doesn't end well. You've seen Ryan Tannehill burn people? Okay. I've seen Derrick Henry burn people. Morning, Big O. I really enjoyed the pod with Dougley Do Wrong. Great chemistry. Yes, Dougley and I get along great. I think it's a fantastic crossover that we've created on his show now and our show. And we found a way to include him in our show, which I'm really, really happy about that, because obviously he was nice enough to include us in his show every week. So I think it's a really, really cool crossover. And yeah, we get along great, man. We have great chemistry. We don't have to. It's sports. You don't have to agree on everything, and we can move on. No big deal. Samuel Robina is checking in from Atlanta, and he's looking forward to the Dolphins to go for a little Tannehill. Thomas Jensen in. Oscar Quintero says, appreciate your insight. Appreciate your support, Oscar. Let's see. Ron G says, chilly, gray, depressing, Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Winter day. I miss Florida. Well, Ron G, you are more than welcome to move on down with us over here. Okay. Although in the end, you're in Cape Cod, just like the rest of us. Eventually, we're all going to have to move away from the coast. I'm just saying. It's not going to be a good thing around the world. Just look up Doomsday Iceberg, and you will find out all you need to know. Hakeem Muhammad, good morning, Big O. I'm looking forward to you smashing folks over the head with the hammer of humility. It's going to happen. I guess it's hard for them to grasp reality. Go Miami. NorCal says, I have a notification bell and I don't see your show till it goes live. I don't know how Steve Chapman gets it so fast. LOL. Well, Steve goes ahead of time and goes searching for it, and then he goes in there. And you know what I mean? So he doesn't even wait for the notification bell. He literally goes and finds it. You know what I'm saying? But our shows are put up a week ahead of time to kind of preview, so people will know ahead of time and all that kind of good stuff. So you know it's coming. You know what I'm saying? Cal Gross says every morning, same bat channel, same time. That's right, baby. Dougie Fresh says, oh, Patti Smith or Smythe turns 75 today. One of the most important punk rock females in the genre. Amen to that. Amen to that. And that collab with Bruce Springsteen has always been the calling card for her. Although I will say this, the 10,000 Maniacs, because the night, sensational. Obviously, Patti Smythe, the original, is phenomenal. But I got to tell you, man, 10,000 Maniacs, they nailed it, okay? Nailed it. She does a great version of Because the Night. James Vivinetti is in. JG Long is in Malaysia. I know that because he's been a long-time supporter of our show, way before we were doing even social media in a way. I think I remember JG sending me like emails and stuff back in the day. Tony Zagalis, Choo Choo is in from New Jersey. He says he's looking forward to Cobra Kai season 4. JG says, yes, I'm with you there. Can't wait to see Miguel's mom. LOL. South Florida Don. Mark NorCal says, I'm not stuck. I got 4x4, a chainsaw, and balls. It's a mess out here. LOL. Joseph Mark says, Big O, the national media is saying that Miami's 7-game streak is only because they played nobodies. They say Tua's luck will expire against the Titans. You think they are just hating? No, Joseph. You know, it's funny because we had a listener that's here at the place and gambling, and they're going by reputation. They're going by the history. And this is what this franchise is doing right now, or trying to do. They're trying to shed that label, you know? And that's what they're known for. They're known for building you up and then letting you down. You know, it's who had who has that reputation also? The Panthers. And even last year, people that don't really follow the league and the team, but they do it casually, they go, oh, well, they suck. They lost last year in the first round again. Now, they don't take into account that they lost to Tampa Bay, and outside of Carolina, they played them the toughest in their run to the Stanley Cup. But that's people that actually watch it like me, actually care about the team and all that stuff. And people say casually, they still look at the Panthers as same old Panthers. And the Panthers are really good. And the Panthers are going to need a long run into the playoffs to convince people that they're not the same old Panthers. Well, guess what? The Dolphins didn't make the playoffs last year. Same old Dolphins. They fall short, right? And now, same old Dolphins. Oh, yeah, no, they're beating up on the cupcakes. Oh, they got lucky that the Saints were missing 20-something players on COVID. That's what Joe Fan is thinking. That's what Joe Media is thinking. And so the Dolphins have earned that. So they've got to shed it, right? So the only way they're going to do that is by beating the Titans, beating the Patriots, and getting into the playoffs and showing that they did make progress and that it wasn't a fluke. Because if they lose these next 2 games, everybody will say it was a fluke. They played easy teams and they're the same team as always. They're good enough to beat the sorry teams, but not good enough to beat the good teams, right? I mean, I made a video of Stuck in the Middle a few years back. You know what I'm saying? Because that was the theme song, that we're stuck in the middle. And that's the label that Miami has earned. So the only way you shed that label, the only way you prove people wrong is by beating Tennessee and then beating New England and getting into the playoffs. If you fall short and don't make the playoffs, guess what they're going to say? Same old, same old. And I'll tell you they're not, because I think this team is getting better. Because if you do get to 10 wins, okay, that's back-to-back 10 wins. So you are getting better. You know what I mean? And I know it's in 17 games, not in 16. So 10 wins this season is not as impressive as 10 wins last season. Correct? I get it. But this is what you're going to have to deal with. So until the Dolphins prove people otherwise and start to do it on a consistent basis, just like the Panthers, and the Panthers literally made the playoffs last year, and people are still saying same old Panthers. Now, those of us that follow the Panthers, we know they're not the same old Panthers. They're really effing good. Okay. And they were really good last year. They didn't have great goaltending, but they were really good last year, but they lost to the best team on the freaking planet. And that's understandable. But Joe Fan, Joe Media is going to say same old Panthers. Joe Media, Joe Fan is going to say 7-game winning streak, same old Dolphins. They got lucky. They're playing the crappy teams. That's unfortunately the label they have. Now go out and prove people wrong. Win this game on Sunday, then beat New England. And that will prove that, okay, we're not a fluke. We're not just taking advantage of a terrible schedule. So as much as it bothers me, it bothers me when I hear it about the Panthers and you hear it about the Dolphins, and I think the Dolphins are a better team. But dude, I mean, I'm the guy that gets bothered by all the Tua hate that I find it's freaking ridiculous. Which, by the way, I got my Tua, what is it, pop whatever. I put it on Twitter. Go check it out there. I got was it damn, now I don't want to get the name wrong, but I believe it was Julio. Was it? Or wait a minute, no, maybe it wasn't. See, now I'm gonna insult somebody. I'm gonna get it wrong, and because there's so many people involved. And well, somebody gave me the Marino pop one, right? And now I'm trying to remember who it was exactly, because maybe it wasn't. I know it wasn't you, Dougie Fresh. You gave me the lunchbox. Well, I'm trying to remember now with the Marino one. But anyway, I ended up getting the Tua one. So now I have the Marino and the Tua pop, whatever the hell those things are called. So you'll see it in the studio on Monday, obviously, because tomorrow we're at Acura, so we're not back in studio till Monday. So Monday you'll see my new pop, whatever the hell the Tua thing is. If you want to check it out, I put it on Twitter there as the new edition. James Davies says, afternoon, Big O from across the pond in Wales. Nice. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. I was watching videos yesterday of Portugal. You know, 'cause I'm thinking about I'm thinking of moving at one point or another. Don't know when down the line, but could be somewhere north in the country or it could be out of the country. Portugal is one place that very, very intriguing, by the way. Very intriguing. I was watching a lot of Portugal stuff yesterday and reading some stuff. Anyway, Irving Figueroa is in, Raging Dolphin Maniac. Brett Dodger in from Toronto. I love Toronto. Every time I go to Buffalo, I drive over to Toronto. Because when you go to Buffalo, you don't stay in Buffalo. And it's like the late, great Mad Dog used to say, when I go to Buffalo, I walk up to the lobby and I tell them, give me a room without a view. And so that's kind of what you want in Buffalo. You don't need a view. You just need to get your ass in a car and go to Toronto, because Toronto is awesome. If you've never been to Toronto, by the way, folks, Toronto is freaking terrific. And Canadian people are so damn awesome. Joe Covillon says the Dolphins can put pressure on Tannehill. The Dolphins will win the game. It's as simple as that. What's up, Big O, Connecticut? I'm with you, man. Lincoln says, loving the Dolphins from Colorado. Radically says, when is that little foxy little, I'm come on, dude. I'm not doing that. Come on, Radically. Be respectful. Ricardo Cuchican says, good morning, Big O, here from Argentina. So excited, waiting for Sunday. First time against Tannehill. Yeah, baby. Crush them. JG says, Big O, what did you think of Kurt Warner's YouTube video breakdown of Jalen Waddle and the Dolphin defense? I have not watched it. I got to watch it. Did he say good things? I know he's been pretty impressed with Tua overall. I think the people in the know realize the terrible situation that he's in. You know, the offensive line and the coaching is so limited, and it's just, I think people, the people in the know kind of realize that what he's doing is kind of awesome, impressive, considering everything around them. Big O, how the hell is Thursday already? How is it Thursday already? All I know, Victor, is I'm glad it's Thursday, bro. Herman says, Big O, why is Omar Kelly saying Tannehill is not affected by the blitz? The guy doesn't have pocket presence and needs a clean pocket. Don't understand his stand. I think I understand what Kelly's saying, that on a basic blitz, he will read the blitz right away and hit the spot where it's coming from. But the part that Omar is leaving out is that if you're able to confuse him and he doesn't know exactly where the blitz is coming from, that's Tannehill. And that's the part that Omar's leaving out, the fact that he's not going to catch the blitz every time. That's why he takes sacks. Elementary, right? You can't say you're great at the blitz and you're second in the league in sacks. Doesn't make any sense. So I disagree with Omar 1,000% on this. The two are not. It's not mutually exclusive. Okay, they go together. You cannot be good at the blitz and you're constantly taking sacks. That means you're getting flustered at one point or another. So he's always gotten flustered. But if it's a basic blitz that he picks up, yeah, he can hit that. Yes. But it doesn't mean he picks up every blitz. It doesn't mean he picks up every stunt and he sees it. Because and I know, and if Omar thinks about it, he'll know too. He'll get it. Okay? So that's how I would explain it. He may not agree with that because he didn't agree with me when I'm telling him that, Mac Jones is a man that is forced into a box. Tua has no choice because of the offensive line forces him to play in a box. It's two different things. One has a line, one has a running game. He has an option to play bigger and make more plays downfield, but he doesn't and can't. That's Mac Jones. Tua can't wait for things downfield because he'll die. They'll kill him. Irving Figueroa is also in. I guess they're fighting over something. Mike Honcho is in. He's checking in from Houston. I like Houston. Traffic like crazy in Houston. Let's see. Barry Brennan fins up from Arizona. I love Zona. Very clean highways. Very nice. I like Arizona. Bruise Crew. Some on ESPN mock our 7-game win streak because we played teams as if we were great. We were 1-7. Bad teams playing better. The streak is impressive regardless of who we play. Not easy in the NFL. Bruise Crew, you are 1,000% right. But again, that's not the label the Dolphins have earned. everybody looks at them and says, same old Dolphins. And that's why they've got to prove people wrong, man. It's kind of what it is, man. It's how you take that. It's the well, are the Marlins looked as cheap there, Sean? Right? Okay. So when are the Marlins going to shed their label of cheapness? When they spend money, right? Same thing. Same thing. Might be a different scenario, but same thing. You get a label, now you've got to shed that label. That's all it is. And Miami has to win these other games and get into the playoffs to at least then, oh, wait a minute. They're better than what you think. Now, I will say this across the board, there's respect for the defense, right? Nobody's downplaying the defense. They're downplaying the accomplishment because of the offense is about as unsexy as it gets. And what do we live in? We live in a world where the three-point shot is big, where the bombs are big, and where home runs are king. Right? That's what we want. We live in that explosive world. And so it's about the greatest show on turf, or it's about Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, you know what I mean? Or it's Steph Curry raining those threes, or it's home run after home run after home run after home run. That's how we watch sports. It's about the offensive, it's about the show. The Dolphins don't put on a show. And, Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Godwin, Antonio Brown, Gronk, they put on a show. And so until we get Marino and the Marx brothers putting on a show, we're not going to have that same kind of love. You know what I'm saying? The Rams, they got Stafford, and then with all those weapons, they're going to be a great team and this and that. So they got the pub and all that, and because they're expecting a show. Justin Herbert has got more pub than Tua. Why? Because he's put on a show. He's thrown a lot of yards, touchdowns. So that eyes go there. So we all like to, it's a very Tannenbaum type thing, the shiny object, and the kids and the dogs are attracted to it, and that's human beings are the same way. Oh my God, wow, that guy's 6'9" and does everything and is slamming people and this and that. Guy's name is LeBron James. What a show. And that's what this is all about, ladies and gentlemen. Is putting on a show. And unfortunately, the defense is the only one that puts on a show, but that can only get you so far. You still got to put the offensive show out on display. The big three for the Heat, that was a show. Ray Allen from the corner, that was a show. 27 games won in a row, that's a show. See what I'm saying? That's what we need. And unfortunately, the Dolphins have zero pizzazz. They have no juice whatsoever. They are not sexy. And so you got to get sexy. And when you get sexy and you're Aaron Rodgers, you put on a show. You get my drift now? That's what it is. Alabama, you watch them every week because they put on a show. That's what sports is all about. That's what the general public wants to see. That's what the media is going to write. That's what they're going to push. And so until our beloved Aqua and Orange become more of a show to go with the flow, then, you're not going to get that kind of pub. You're not going to get that kind of respect. The blue collar lunch pail stuff, that's not sexy to people. So Until our offense gets sexy, we're not going to get that kind of respect. Let's see. Your show's starting to be my go-to show in the mornings. Watch from New England. Well, thank you, 6193. Appreciate you, man. David Pridham says Chris Russo on XM slam Tua as tiny, can't run and can't throw deep. Says winning streak is a mirage. That's fine. That's his opinion, and I say he's completely wrong. But what do you want me to do? You know what I mean? It's his show, dude. He's gonna say whatever he wants. You know? Big O just feeling blessed to have meaningful football. That's what Mike Honcho says. I agree. Brooklyn Rob says Chapman is that kid from school whose parents dropped him off way too early. The only good thing about getting dropped off, there were those times. I remember in Arbondale Elementary. Okay, I was super geeky on that sense that I used to go early to school. But you know why I used to go early to school? We had this racist PE teacher named Chesno. And Chesno, by the way, did not like Cubans very much. And, when you got an elementary in the middle of Little Havana, that might not be a really good combination. But anyway, so Chesno was the best PE teacher I ever had, okay? Racist and all. Best PE teacher I ever had. Taught you every sport possible, right? Which is weird because in today's world, kids like learn one sport and they play one sport. The rest of us that are older, we grew up and we changed with the seasons. Okay. You got your glove out for baseball. You played football season. You got your basketball out for basketball. All that. We didn't have hockey here. Okay. So, we don't have any ice in South Florida. But, my point is we kind of learned everything, and Arbondale had this thing where he would open up PE early in the morning, like at 6:00 or 6:30. So, your kids, bro, we go there, get all sweated up, and then go into class. You're running around in your Levi corduroys. Because in those days, there was no locker rooms. There was no changing or anything like none of that happened, dude. So, whatever you were playing, and then you went to class, So I actually would go early just to go play some sports. When there were times, that I really wanted to stay and watch one more episode of Spider-Man because, Spider-Man was early in the morning back in my days. I think we had Battlestar Galactica too. Early cartoons back in those days too. Ah, yes. I remember that. And breakfast. You can go get a little breakfast too. Back in the day. Different world, man. Different world. Let's see. Herbert Valdez says, does Dream Lending do investment property loans in California? Herbert, why don't you call them? adreamlending.com. Call them 305-992-5218 and ask for Eves, and he'll help you out, and he'll answer that question for you. I can't answer it specifically because I don't know every single in and out, but I know that he's already helping several of our listeners out of state already as it is. We got several that are working on deals here locally in South Florida, but we got people out of state now, listeners out of state that are calling American Dream Lending. So you can do it too, man. Call him and ask him. It doesn't hurt. It's his cell number. So he's going to get back to you. All right. And of course, tell him that we sent you. It's always very important. Whatever sponsor, man, Pallet Rack City, you got a warehouse, you got to get your racks. And it doesn't matter if it's here in South Florida, the West Coast, up north on the northern side of Florida. If you own a business, call the folks at Pallet Rock City and make sure you tell them that we sent you, okay? Caneswear, you come out to Hialeah Park, it doesn't matter, man. Sports Grill, you're eating, tell them that, hey, I heard you guys on the Big O radio show, and, that's always very, very important. All right, Vaughn954 is in. It says playoffs start this Sunday. Let's keep it rolling. Irvin Figueroa says, Bruce Crew, the media is always hating. That's Happens at times. Jason Dow says, yesterday I saw Coward say Brian Flores is winning with a limited quarterback. I think Tua it is winning with a limited coaching staff and everything else. Yeah. But I mean, come on, dude. You're listening to Cal Turd. I mean, seriously, bro. Cal Turd it's a bad listen, man. It's a bad listen. It's a lazy host that really doesn't watch stuff. You can tell that he depends on his producers. I mean, it's just bad stuff. I can't listen to the guy. I'm forced to listen to him a couple times when you guys like send me some clip or something. There are times that I'm just like, yeah, I'm not even gonna bother anymore. Tua is currently 9th in QBR, top 10 QB. He somehow, despite the 32nd rank offensive line, and has been sacked the least amount due to his insane pocket presence. Eric, dude, facts and logic, man, that's it's hard to deal with here, bro. Good job, bro. Good job, my man. Ronnie says Seattle went through the same thing during Mike Holmgren and Matt Hasselbeck years. Yeah, it's kind of part of the game. Ethereum Elemental is in. Jason Dow's in. Ethereum says, I'm predicting that Tua pops off this game after a couple mistakes in these last two. Would be nice. It would be nice. I agree with that. Man, this the chat board, wow, it is active like crazy. Holy crap. I remember in the early days I could go through it really quick. Now there's no way. It's just there's so many. It doesn't end, which is awesome, by the way. AH360, thank you, sir, for some love in the super chat. He says, accomplishments don't make the Finns a good team, guys. Making a 53-man roster is a huge accomplishment, but does that mean that all 53 players are good? It's an interesting point you bring up. Look, man, it's about results. That's all it is. It's about results. You get the results, you get the respect. The Miami Heat has the respect of everyone in the NBA because they get the results year in and year out. And it doesn't matter who's on that roster, who's playing. None of that ever matters with the Miami Heat. And they've earned your respect, whether they're coaching journeymen, whether they're coaching stars, or they're coaching young players. Doesn't matter. Because every time you see them, they're super responsible. Every time you watch them, they're pros. And in the end, they win. And they win a lot. And that's why you get what you get with the Miami Heat. You get the ultimate respect. Everybody loves Spo. Everybody respects Spo. It took a while for some people to finally say, yeah, I was wrong. That guy's one hell of a coach. Because like when you would say, oh, he's one of the top 5 coaches, you had people like, get the hell out of here and this and that. You always had the morons that were like, well, he only won because of LeBron or whatever. And it's like, dude, watch the games. The guy can coach his ass off. It doesn't matter who it is. He makes everybody better because he's a damn good coach. But you earned all that. That franchise has earned all the respect that they get. The Miami Dolphins lost all their respect that they earned with Shula, and they've never earned it back because they've never, ever been consistent winners ever since. So we can't sit back and be, surprised or shocked that people aren't believing in the Dolphins, or they're disrespecting the Dolphins, or they don't believe in their winning streak or anything like that. When you've never done anything, why would they believe you? You know what I mean? And what happened in the 70s, it becomes never. That was 2 lifetimes ago. Nobody cares about that. It's about now, recent history. So last, 25 years, it's terrible. So it's going to take you a while to kind of shed all that. Devin Jordan chiming in on the super chat. Thank you, sir. As always, you are always a strong supporter of the show, and we appreciate it immensely. He says, GM Big O, you made a good point about shining objects, and you mentioned LeBron due to scoring 35 points a game and the Lakers still losing. Anyhow, love the show. There you go. Yeah, well, we know what the problem is, right? We know what the problem is. The problem is what? Anthony Davis. His soft, fragile little ass has to man up, bro. But LeBron, he's a cyborg, man. The guy's amazing. But he can't do it by himself. He's going to need other people. And Anthony Davis is the guy that has to step up and has to take over and carry a lot of the load. And he just somehow disappears and doesn't show the same kind of consistency. But man, he is impressive as hell. LeBron can never ever take that away from LeBron. Let's see. Juan says coaching has held this team back, and because of this, they dug a hole too deep to climb out of. Regardless, if they win the next 2 games, changes are needed urgently on offense and on the O-line. Juan, the entire offensive staff needs to be replaced. Question is we bring it up all the time. Can Flo actually find the coaches? That's been the real problem, unfortunately. That song says un abrazo desde Puerto Rico, hermano. Thank you, sir. A lot of people are moving to Puerto Rico, too. A lot of people are moving to Puerto Rico. Let's see what else. Tua's 2.5 second release time is also by design. No time to drop back and scan. Quick decisions are usually short to mid passes, higher percentage, higher QBR. Tua has excellent movement in the pocket. Yeah, again, we touched on this a little bit, and we did it a little bit with Alan yesterday. And what bothers me is that people think that that's easy. The quick short passes. The quick short passes are not easy. You've got to make quick decisions, and you've got to make accurate decisions. And then what people conveniently leave out is a lot of those quick decisions are going to Waddle, which, by the way, doesn't everybody in the entire world know that it's going to Waddle? Right? I mean, if we had a drinking game for the Miami Dolphins, take a shot every time Waddle catches a ball, you'd be drunk off your ass by halftime. So if short intermediate passes are so easy, then why isn't everybody doing it? You know what I mean? Why didn't Ian Book do short and intermediate passes against the Dolphins? They had a great pass rush. They were all over Ian Book, but I mean, it's so easy to make the short passes. It's funny because, again, I mentioned this yesterday. Tom Brady got picked on for years. Oh, well, dude, all he does is throw short passes to all these short receivers. Yeah, exactly. And you know that that's exactly what he's going to do, and he's still doing it. Well, why don't you stop it? And if it was that easy, why isn't every young quarterback in the history of the NFL, hey, guys, you just come into the NFL, let's all start the short passing game because it's so easy. Everyone can do it. Look at Tua. I mean, if Tua can do it, everybody can do it. Doesn't that sound idiotic? Right? Sounds kind of stupid, right? Because if it was that easy, everybody would do it. That's how we would start every quarterback. Oh, I'm sorry. Isn't that what they're trying to do with New England? Right? Isn't that what they're trying to do with Mac Jones? Because that's all they have him is in a box. But, I mean, it's so easy. So you're telling me that the Dolphins figured something out that for 50 years in the NFL nobody else figured out? Every young quarterback, man, John Beck could have been a star for us. Pat White could have been a star for us. If only we implemented the short passing game. It's so easy. I love how everything's downplayed. 7-game winning streak, it's easy. Short passing game, it's easy. The guy's, I brought out the stat yesterday, he's 32nd in sacks at 15. Yeah, no, it must be so easy to play behind that line. You can't have it both ways. It can't be easy to play behind a line that breaks your ribs, and then you also have an easy passing game. I'm sorry, how does that jive? How does it jive that the guy gets pressured while he's handing off? I've seen defenders right on Tua's hip as he's handing off the ball. How in the hell does that happen? How do you get pressured handing off the ball? Easy. Anybody see the weaving he has to do inside that line? As I told you yesterday, Tannehill has 45 sacks on the season. He's number 2 in the NFL. Okay? If Tannehill played behind this line, he would have 87 sacks by now. Not 47. Hell, he might not be alive right now. It's all this stuff. It's easy. This is the NFL. There's nothing easy in the NFL. Not blocking, not running, not passing, not defending, not kicking. There's nothing easy in the NFL. Somebody say, oh, this is easy. Come on, man. Oh, 1 hour down. We got 2 more to go. Coming to you live from Hialeah Park and Casino. We're in the second floor poker room. Sean Stanley by my side. If you want to get in, remember the text line 855-912-1056. Email BigORadioshow@yahoo.com. Twitter, Big O Show. Of course, you can always make a donation through Cash App or Venmo. Cash Big O Show is the address. That's Cash Big O Show. Let's take a break. Hour number 2 is next.
South Florida's premier law enforcement agency is now hiring individuals like you. The Fort Lauderdale Police Department is now accepting applications for non-certified and certified police officer positions. Minimum requirements and qualifications can be found at flpdjobs.com. That's flpdjobs.com. Are you ready? The city of Fort Lauderdale is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, it's Big O. Protect your home the way we do with Sloman's Home Security, folks. And if you want some great news, how about this? A free doorbell camera. That's right. The first 40 Big O listeners who dial 1-800-ALARM-ME will get this limited time offer of a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your smartphone with installation of your Sloman's Shield. And that's not all, folks. Sloman's is going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. So you're getting an LED touchscreen pad, a motion detector, 3 arm doors, and backup battery. Plus, if you're one of the first 40 Big O listeners to call 1-800-ALARM-ME, you'll receive...
This is the Big O Show!
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
It's the Big O Show! Judge, you tuned in to the hottest sports radio.
When you need your warehouse looking good while staying efficient, there's only one place to find the finest racks in the business. Pallet Rack City in Hialeah. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. Pallet Rack City is the company you need when you want your warehouse sporting the finest racks in the business. After all, who doesn't love a great rack? Pallet Salad Rack City. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547.
Orlando, aka the Big O, he covers all the South Florida teams.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Dolphins to the Heat, well, you know what I mean. Monday to Friday, Fly Pablo in the...
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty. Man, you got that 7 million download thing there at the end. We gotta change that, bro. We gotta change that. But you know what? You better get ready for 11 million because we're already getting close to 11 million, which is pretty awesome, by the way. Thank you all out there, man. I just, the other day on Tuesday, 100 and almost 17,000 downloads in one day. Sean and I sit there and we're like, is this really happening at times? It's just really, it's just crazy stuff, man. It really is. So, yeah, we're already halfway. We've already got 500,000 downloads already in a week. It's actually amazing. Samuel, wow. Tui Lemotu. Thank you, sir, for love on the super chat. And he says, race quit. And it's a sticker there, as always. I like this sticker, but race quit. What does race quit mean? I don't get that. You got to tell me what that means, Samuel. I don't understand, but thank you, sir, as always, for the super chat. And remember, Cash App or Venmo. We get 100% of the donation through Cash App or Venmo. We love it here on the super chat on YouTube, but we only get 70% of it. 30% goes to YouTube. So that's why we always tell you Cash App or Venmo, because that goes 100% to the show. What else do we have here? Tua's yards per average is higher than Josh Allen's yards per average. It's an overrated stat. Brady's yard per average is 7.2 and Garoppolo's 8.5. No one wants Garoppolo as their QB. So true, Eric, right? It's just, I say this all the time. Stats can be spun however you want to spin them. You can make them whatever you want. That's I can get stats and make it a story however I want to make it. I always tell people that stats never tell you the whole story. So if you're simply leaning on the stats and you didn't really watch the games and watch the player, you're not really going to be able to explain everything. And like I just said about Brady, there are many years where he had that short passing game going all the damn time. That's effective. There's nothing wrong with that. Joe Montana did a lot of short passes also. There's nothing wrong with that. It's difficult to, how difficult it is to consistently put together 12 and 13 and 14 and 15 play drives. And Brady did it all the time. Why? Because you need a deadly accurate quarterback to be able to do it all the time. The people that tell you it's easy, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. That's why the stats never really tell you the whole story. Oh, well, you know, his yards per average and this, that. Does he win? Does he move the ball? Is he scoring? Yes. Well, then what the hell's your problem? Who cares how he does it? Just get it done, man. By the way, now that I'm seeing a little Sloman's there, and I see it every day in my house at Sloman's Home Security. And folks, right now we are giving you a free doorbell camera. That's right. The first 40 Big O listeners right now, 1-800-ALARM-ME. Protect your family. Listen, we all care about our families immensely, right? We want to protect everything. We want to protect our businesses. We want to protect our pets. I have a whole bunch of dogs at home. They're like our kids. I love my dogs. Well, I want to make sure that I'm protecting them. And of course, with Sloman's Home Security, I can protect them right now. And with Sloman's Home Security, you will get a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your smartphone with the installation of your Sloman Shield. And that's not all. They're going to give you the free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. So you're going to get the LED touchscreen pad, a motion detector with 3-arm doors, and a backup battery. Plus, if you're one of the first 40 Big O listeners right now, call 1-800-ALARM-ME. You will receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Keep your family safe like we do, folks, in the Alzigari household. Call 1-800-ALARM-ME. All right. David says Miami and Kansas City are the only two teams on a 7 and 8 game winning streak. If it's so easy, why isn't Green Bay or Tampa on the same streak for the rest of the NFL? That's right. And they're so good, right? They're such a great team. They're great teams. They should be able to beat everybody, right? You are correct, sir. Nothing is easy, man. Nothing is easy. Samuel says, love your show. Big always, as always, good points and NFL wisdom. Very nice, Samuel. Thank you. And again, thank you for the super chat. Big O, I still want to watch vintage Dolphin games. I'm going to watch Marino's last playoff win versus the Seahawks. Never knew they used to be in the AFC. Yep. Yeah, you're young. Yeah, the AFC West was Seattle. So was the Falcons, right? No, they were NFC West. Right. So it was so weird because Seattle used to be in the NFC and Atlanta used to be in the NFC West. It's just like the weirdest thing, you know? It's like, hey, listen, man. The NBA had a team called the New Orleans Jazz, and they moved to Utah and kept the names. There's no Jazz in New Orleans. You know? There's no lakes in Los Angeles, but somehow the Minneapolis Lakers moved to Los Angeles, and all right, we'll keep it. You know what I mean? It's one of those deals. Let's see what else. Alex Gomez says, Big O, how much money have you lost fading Tannehill? You taking the points this week with backing Miami, all these people donating money to you so you can wager against Tannehill to lose your money. First of all, I wouldn't wager with Tannehill ever. Why would I wager with that loser? You know what I'm saying? Have you watched him this year, sir? 14 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. You haven't watched his mediocre ass this year? Nelson Gar says, Big O, every great championship team has several veterans in key positions, and next year, if the Fish want to get to the next level, they need to do that. Seems this year Flo got rid of some of those guys. He got rid of his older coaches and older players, bro. You do the math. You figure it out. Okay? You figure out why everybody's so young around him. You figure out why young coaches, young head coaches, usually want to have a few older, grizzled veterans around so they can lean on them. I wonder why he doesn't want to lean on them. Maybe it's because he has all the answers. Just like Patricia. just like Josh McDaniels. They got all the answers. All those apples that fall from the Belichick tree, they got all the answers. They don't need help from anybody. They know it all. They know every position. They know every draft eligible player and what their strengths are and weaknesses. They can teach every coach, every position. You know, certain coaches have that skill set, have that magic that they can just educate everybody and make them all better. And we're lucky we have that guy. John Locke says, good morning, everybody. Thank you, sir. Carlos Segarro says, I think he means rage quit. That's what games do when they get pissed in a video game and leave. Ah, okay, nice. Thank you, Carlos. Appreciate it. Okay. All right. An old fart like me doesn't really think about those kind of things. We just walked away from the game or something, or probably slammed it. Right. Yeah, exactly. That song says, Big O, what are your honest opinions on our receivers not getting separation other than Waddle and Gesicki not getting enough touches? It's kudos to the defense or more of a game plan situation? No, the receivers are mediocre. It's a mediocre receiving core. It's often injured. They counted on way too many injured players. And that was a huge mistake they made with their wide receiving core this year. But they're going to have to draft another guy next year, another young receiver opposite of Waddle, and start to develop that wide receiving core and expand it a little bit more. They're fine at tight end. You keep Gesicki, but at wide receiver they need to draft another guy, another speed guy on this team. That's what they need. Okay. Sam Roke says, can't wait to beat those Titans. I'm with you there, man. Nelson is asking me, Big O, do you know any pet grooming services that's reputable? I game a camel and would like to give her a haircut and get her a nice and pretty for the new year. A camel, huh? I love it. Dougie Fresh has real stats for you. 99 out of 100 men believe that the inventor of women's yoga pants deserves a presidential award. I agree. I think the person that invented yoga pants should be put in every Hall of Fame that ever existed. Doesn't matter what it is. Hall of Fame knitting, put that person there. Hall of Fame in football, put that person there. The Hall of Presidents in Disney World, put that person there. Can you imagine? Reagan talks, Bush Sr. talks, and then the yoga pants guy talks. I mean, come on. The good thing about that is I usually fall asleep at the president's thing, right? Because that's where I go to get, you're tired. You're walking around. You're sweating buckets. You've had, a Mickey ice cream, and you're kind of out of gas. Oh, yeah, no, let's go to the Hall of Presidents. Oh, yeah, good. No, that's where I'm going to go to sleep. I mean, seriously, that's there and the GE thing. Now is the time. Now is the best time. That's it. I'm asleep. I sleep also. I re-energize in filler magic. I wake up when the strawberry pie hits me in the face. Okay, when that air blows in and you know that strawberry, that wakes me up because I am fat, remember? So it's like, whoa, I'm hungry all of a sudden. So I get up and I got to go have a turkey leg right when I get out of there. So yeah, I'm with you there. What's that? He's what? Oh. Oh, okay. Samuel says, I don't either, Big O. I didn't get a chance to read the sticker. So sorry. Well, no, it's good. We learned something. It was great you did it. It's fantastic. I actually learned something. So it's good. I'm glad you did it, man. Big O, how do you feel about Jameson Williams, wide receiver from Alabama? My brother, I just want him to go get another wide receiver that can play ball. Doesn't matter who it is, where he's from. We'll talk about all of that in the offseason when we start getting into all of that. But I just want him to get a really good receiver. Find a way to get another guy in there. The Hall of Famers for Great Americans is located in the Bronx, New York City. Well, put him in there. Put him in there. Because whoever did that, created the yoga pants, that's somebody that we all love. We all love that person. Funny how everybody wants to discredit Tanny, saying Titans' success is due to Henry, yet conveniently leave out Henry was with the Titans since 2016. The Titans' offense didn't take off until Tanny started. Sir, they had DeMarco Murray starting the first couple of years. And then because he was a backup, and then Derrick Henry took on, and then everything kind of took off, and they were a little better and all that kind of stuff. First couple of years, they had DeMarco Murray, and Derrick was actually sharing time. And then Derrick became the guy. And look, I mean, I can only be nice for so long. If you actually think they're winning because of Ryan, when Derrick went out, they have become a disaster. Brother, you got a lot to learn about football. I mean, a lot to learn about football. You really don't know jack shit. So that's where the line in the sand is drawn already at this point. It's just like, wow, stupidity I can only take so much. And then when it gets to a point where it's just so ignorant, enough already, wow. Holy crap. Instead of getting Alabama players, they need to look for people whose names start with the letter J. Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, Jerome Baker, Javon Holland. That's it. That's what it's all about. It's about the J's. Ask NorCal. He's having a J right now as we speak. Don't pass. Just keep puffing there, NorCal. We got that Omicron thing going around. Even though it's not that bad, and if you're vaxxed, you're all right, but be careful there. Don't pass. Just keep puffing and don't pass. Big O, if I had your eyes, I'd probably have 10 baby mamas. Yeah, but that's not a good thing. I don't know where that's a good thing, Willie. Why would you want to have 10 baby mamas? I'm fine with one. I've had one for 30 years. That's the only one I'm going to have. I don't want to have any more. So, I don't know, bro. I got 5 stents in my heart, Willie. 10 baby mamas. I probably would be dead already by now if I had to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, that's not good, man. That's not good. You shouldn't want to have 10 baby mamas. Oh, God. Damn, that's a nightmare. Willie's only thinking about the sex part, which, the sex part is great, but not the impregnation part of it. Are you still using CBD oil for your bags? I am. I'm using. I'm not using the oil that I was putting. I'm actually using the CBD oil that I drink to sleep every night, and I don't know if they're any better. It's gotten a little better actually, but it's just one of those things. I think I may need some kind of a surgery, some kind of treatment or something. I have no idea. You'd be broke with 10 baby mamas. Man, I'm already close to broke with one baby mama. Why am I going to be having 10? You crazy? Salvador Sanchez says, great show from Canes fan from Oregon. Wow. Damn. So you go there, Mario comes here? Okay. All right. Big O, let's drop Wilson, Preston, and Fuller is out. Let's bring Camarillo, Patrick Cobbs, and Ted Ginn Jr. That's it, baby. I don't get it done right there. I don't get it done. By the way, Heat and Spurs last night postponed due to COVID. They got players injured. They got players on COVID. Whatever. Friday they visit the Rockets at 7:00. Let's see if they are able to play that game, as COVID is all of man. They were borrowing people from the G League in San Antonio, and they still couldn't put together a team. It gets to a point where the NBA, listen, the regular season's already considered a joke. Now you're making it a bigger joke. That's kind of the way we've always looked at the NBA regular season, that it just doesn't mean, a hell of a lot. And if you're willing to go to these extremes, man, you just care about the money, the TV money, and you really don't care about the product or the fans. And what about the people that pay for tickets to go see those games? You're like slapping those people right in the face, saying, "Yeah, we'll take your money and you'll pay for whatever product is out on the court." And there's a certain level of disrespect this year from the NBA. Look, it's a pandemic. I get it. But you're a $1 billion league. There are things you can do to maybe alter it so you can provide people a great product. And, the bubble at least provided a great product, because very few people were, suffering from COVID and you were losing. Now you got teams are losing, 30, 40, 50, 60% of their roster, and then you're replacing it with scrubs. Where it's like a scab season in a way for the NBA. It just gets to a point where it's too extreme, man. Really is. Let's see. CBD works great for better sleep. It does. That is where it's helping me. The CBD I'm taking is helping for sleeping. Melatonin. I see Xavier, you're mentioning it. Melatonin never does anything for me. And I've taken different types of melatonin, and it does nothing for me. This CBD that I'm taking does help me sleep a little heavier. That I will say. What else do we have here? Brett, send Big O some Canadian CBD. Why? What's the difference? Why is Canadian CBD better than American CBD? Isn't it all the same crap? I don't know. I have no idea. I didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn last night, so I'm not a CBD expert, so I'm not going to claim to be. I don't know what the hell's going on. What's the CBD in Canada got that the CBD in US doesn't? You guys got to fill me in on that. Big O just needs those special NorCal brownies. All right, NorCal. The challenge is on. You've got to bake some brownies and send them to me. Oh, okay. Oh, look at that. Fun facts. Here we go. American CBD is processed from hemp plants, while Canadian CBD comes from marijuana plants. Well, why aren't you Canadians sending me CBD already? Let's go. American CBD oils are made from industrial hemp plants sprayed with harmful pesticides and herbicides. This process may also include genetic modification or crossbreeding of different strains of cannabis plants. Well, I need CBD from Canada. Let's go. Bring it. I need Canadian CBD, eh? Come on, you hosers. Get me some CBD from Canada, eh? A little Molson's, too. Why don't you? Highland Sleep is what I use. Homeopathic and all natural. Highland Sleep, homeopathic and all natural. Where do I get that, Jay? Tua's talent while at Bama made me a fan of his, and most Dolphins hate him. Hard for me to understand. David, I don't believe most Dolphins hate Tua. I do not believe that at all. In fact, I think it's completely the opposite. I think it's most Dolphins like Tua. I just think there's maybe a 20, 30 percentage that don't like Tua or don't believe in Tua. They're just loud as hell. As I've always said, you go to the restaurant and you never really compliment the chef. You have a great steak. You have fantastic soup. You eat this fish that was just cooked perfectly, and you rub your stomach, and you're really happy, and you walk out, and you're picking your teeth with your toothpick. Maybe you're cracking a couple farts. You're playing a joke on the wife in the car and locking the windows. All those kind of things, but you don't compliment anybody. Now, your steak's cold. Something's undercooked. The food is this, that, whatever. Well, you send in a complaint really quickly. So in this world, we're super quick to complain. We're incredibly slow to almost impossible to compliment. So that's what I think it is on the Tua side. I think most Dolphins fans like Tua, but I think the percentage that don't like Tua or don't believe in Tua, they're just loud. That's all it is. I think most people wanted to get a vaccine. I think the few that didn't want to get a vaccine, whatever that percentage is, 20, 30, 40%, they're just loud. That's all. It's just when you complain, when you're countering, you're going to be much louder than the people that are for it and are, going with the flow, as they say. All right, Joe Shad from the Palm Beach Post joins us on the other side for the AmericanDreamLending.com Miami Dolphins weekly report.
Dolphins fans, buckle up. It's time for the American Dream Lending Miami Dolphins report with Joe Shad. When you're ready to purchase a new home or refinance the one you have, American Dream Lending will make sure your loan experience is easy with fast approvals and quick closings. Call them at 786-802-1727 or online at adreamlending.com. Here's Joe Shad with today's edition of the American Dream Lending report.
And the myth, the legend that is Joe Shad. How you doing, Joe? You feeling good?
What's up, Big O? Doing well today.
Are you headed to Nashville because of it being all Zoom now?
No, I decided to stay behind. I'm kind of glad when you look at the number of flights that have been canceled.
Yeah.
And when you look at the fact that it's going to be a low of 26 degrees or so,
That's right.
with a chance of snow. Like I don't need all that.
Yeah.
There's really no reason to go. If it was a playoff game,
Yeah, to go there just so you can sit in the press box and watch the field, because really that's the only reason you would go, Joe. That you can see the whole field and watch the sidelines and you can do your job slightly better for that. But if you don't have any access to the players and the coaches and it's all going to be Zoom, which is what you can do at home, why go, man?
and there's millions of people getting this, most recent version of the virus every week. So, Hey, why not try to maybe skip this one, this virus?
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. The good thing is that if we're vaxxed, it doesn't look like it's a bad one. So that's the good thing compared to all the other ones. At least this one doesn't look like it's nearly as bad. So that's at least a good side of all of this. All right, so where are you now after this accomplishment? Because it's interesting how you have a whole bunch of folks downplaying it, and one of the reasons why I think they're downplaying it, it's because you've earned a reputation, Joe, and I kind of explained this earlier in the first hour. The same old Dolphins for the last 20 years have been the team that is usually better than the really bad teams, but not good enough to beat the playoff type teams. And they're kind of stuck in the middle. I did a little video a couple years ago, Steelers Wheels, with that song Stuck in the Middle, having some fun with it from the Reservoir Dogs, all that doing the boys dance in the Reservoir Dogs and all of that. And it's kind of, that's the reputation that the Dolphins have earned. But it is an incredible feat to win 7 in a row. So where do you stand in all of this?
Well, you have to look at the win-loss record of the teams that the Dolphins have beaten and take that into consideration in your evaluation. You have to look at the caliber of quarterbacks that the Dolphins have faced and take that into the equation. You can't overlook, ignore, put your head in the sand, pretend as though everything is all right now that they've won 7 in a row. Things are never quite as good as they seem during a 7-game win streak. they're never quite as bad as they seem during a 7-game lose streak. Brian Flores says a lot of cliche things, but a lot of those cliche things are true. He talks about the small margin of victory in the National Football League, and each game really is often decided by 1 or 2 key plays. And the biggest reason that the Dolphins have had this 7-game win streak is that the defense has been dominant. This is a championship caliber defense. Guys like Jerome Baker, Xavier Howard, Emmanuel Ogba, those are championship caliber players that could very well be deserving of a Super Bowl type stage. We just hope that the offense can, somehow, some way, and it's not likely to happen this year, move towards a championship caliber level. Obviously, as of now, it's not there.
On Tua, yesterday I had an interesting conversation with Poupart and kind of downplaying what Tua's done in a way of the short passing game. Do you look at it the same way, that it's not as impressive? Because here's the part I have a problem with people downplaying the short passing game. If it was that easy, wouldn't everybody do it? Wouldn't it make Pat White successful? Why didn't Ian Book do it this past week against the Dolphins? If it's so easy, you know what I mean? That's the part that I kind of laugh at. If it was so easy, then every young quarterback would actually do the short passing game. And we used to make fun of Tom Brady for that. Not me, but I mean, people in general will make fun of Tom. Oh, well, there are a whole bunch of short passes. Yeah, it takes incredible precision to be able to do that on a consistent basis. It's actually really, really hard. So I'm wondering, are you downplaying it also, the short passing game of the Dolphins?
Yeah, Tua didn't have a great game in the last game, and so you have to just be honest about that and say,
That's true.
he wasn't horrendous, but he wasn't terrific. He had a few bad balls and caught. I'm
talking about overall. I'm talking about the 7 games.
But
I'm talking about 7 games.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that he's an accurate, short to intermediate passer, and that is obviously a strength of his, and he should be commended for that. There are things that Tua Tagovailoa, does well, and we certainly want to point those out and hope that he can improve in the areas in which he has not yet shown to be outstanding. The last game, one of the things he did well was move around a little bit in the pocket. He stepped up. This is something Mike Vrabel made a point of in yesterday's Titans news conference. Talked about how Tua has an ability to climb the pocket.
Well, he's done that the whole time. He's moved around the whole time. I mean,
he needs to be able to do that because of the pressure that he's facing. Now, last week he faced a ton of pressure from the outside. This week could be even more problematic because of Jeffrey Simmons, who's a dominant interior pass rusher. The idea of Jeffrey Simmons of the Titans up against Austin Jackson, and we were right on the money, Orlando. We talked about it last Thursday. We talked about it last Sunday. Last Thursday and last Sunday, we talked about the Saints defensive ends and the problems they were going to give the tackles. Right on the money.
Yep.
We talked about how the Saints COVID outbreak was going to affect them. We even brought up Ian Book. No one was talking about Ian Book last Thursday. We brought up Ian Book. We were right on the money. We talked about how the Dolphins were going to win and cover. All right. And they did, and it was never in question. We were right on the money. So we got a good streak going here. I've even told you to keep away 2 weeks in a row from the over-under on throws to the running backs at Big O.
Yes, that's right.
And if you bet that, you would have won. Now, I'm not trying to tell you that I'm some gambling guru, but I'm telling you that this week you need to be worried about Jeffrey Simmons,
of course,
matching up against Austin Jackson and Michael Dieter.
No doubt.
The problems that might cause.
But going back to the Tua thing on moving around, do you know where he stands on sacks in the NFL?
Well, he's done well in terms of sack percentage,
32nd in the NFL with 15 sacks. You know who's 31, by the way?
Who's that?
Jabroni Brissett with 19, who's played a lot less. Burrow is number 1 in the NFL in being sacked at 47. Tannehill is number 2 at 45. Okay, and
now I know you hate Ryan Tannehill.
No, I don't hate him. I just think he's average at best, and he's nothing. I don't think he's anything special. Never
But
have. He's a
the problem,
fantastic young man, but he ain't jack shit of a quarterback.
well,
Am I
first
clear
of
on
all,
that?
he led the Tennessee Titans to the AFC Championship game.
No, Derrick Henry led them to the AFC Championship game. If he was anything that could lead anything, he would have done a lot while Derrick Henry's out, and he's been
He's
a
the best
disaster.
quarterback the Dolphins will face in an 8-game stretch other than Lamar Jackson.
You call Lamar Jackson a quarterback? That's a loose term to call Lamar Jackson a guy that isn't a passer as a quarterback. By the way, Lamar Jackson, who has played in less games, is actually number 3 in sacks at 38 because Lamar Jackson and Ryan Tannehill have no pocket presence whatsoever. But my point is, and when you were talking about Tua moving around, and I told you he's been doing it throughout the entire thing, to be with only 15 sacks behind that line, Joe, and to be 32nd in the NFL, I ask you, you put Ryan Tannehill behind this line. Do you think he only has 47 sacks, or does he have a lot more?
One of the criticisms of Ryan Tannehill as a Dolphin, and I only covered the last 3 years of his tenure, was that he was a little bit robotic, a little bit paint by numbers, didn't necessarily have the instincts, the feel for the game. I will give Tua Tagovailoa an edge in that area, having been a quarterback all his life, unlike Ryan Tannehill. He has a good sense for the game. Now, we have to be fair and point out that one of the reasons he's been able to limit the sacks is because he throws the ball and gets rid of it faster than almost anybody. This is part of the Dolphins' strategy and plan. They don't think that he can hold the ball. In an ideal offense,
Well, you can hold them. Well, no. They're doing the smart thing, right, Joe? Let's
in
not
an
phrase.
ideal,
You're phrasing it like they choose to do this because that's the way they want to do this. No, they choose to do this because they have no choice but to do it like this because he has no time to hold on to the ball. Correct?
yeah, that's a key
Okay, good.
factor. No,
You
but
you didn't
also,
phrase it that way. You didn't
well,
phrase it that way.
I'll choose to phrase it the way I choose since it's my voice.
But it's
So
wrong.
we
But it's wrong. Then it's wrong.
no, Tua
It's wrong.
Tagovailoa, the Dolphins, no matter, even if they have 5 Pro Bowl offensive linemen, the Dolphins are likely to go with a quick passing, short passing attack because that's Tua's strength.
Really? Is that what they did in Alabama when he had a line? It was all short and he never went long? Is that what you saw in Alabama? Because that's not what I saw.
There's
When
a
he
lot
had a
of
real
factors.
line and a real running game, yeah, he could do the short and he did the long ball all the time in Alabama. I mean, this is the same conversation I just had with Omar about Mac Jones. Mac Jones is in a box by choice of Bill Belichick. Tua's in a box because he has no choice because he has a terrible offensive line and no running game. So he has no choice to play this
So,
game.
so I understand that the Dolphins don't have an elite running back. And
Or
I
line.
understand that the Dolphins have one of the worst performing offensive lines in the NFL. Does it not resonate with you at all that for 7 years, many Dolphins fans and observers made excuses for Ryan Tannehill? Well, if you only had better play calling, if you only had better offensive linemen, if you only had better playmakers, do you see any parallel in the excuse category?
Oh, there's some parallels. The only difference is this guy's a real quarterback that I watched in college actually play the position the right way and win a national title, where the guy that you were just talking about that is in Tennessee is limited as a passer, doesn't have an understanding of playing the position the same way this young man does because he's not naturally a quarterback. He's a lot like Lamar Jackson. They're athletes trying to play the quarterback position. So they have to kind of force the instincts. They don't have the natural instincts. Tua has the natural instincts. Joe Burrow has the natural instincts. Justin Herbert has the natural instincts. These guys play the quarterback position. Tannehill and Lamar Jackson are athletes trying to adjust to being quarterbacks. That's what I see. That's why they have no pocket presence. That's why they're mechanical. That's why things don't flow with them the same way others do. That's why they're so dependent on everybody else. Whereas Tua can at least ad lib, he can overcome the deficiencies of your line at times by only taking 15 sacks. Ryan Tannehill cannot do that because he cannot read and anticipate. He has also no anticipatory skills as a thrower. Neither does Lamar Jackson. Whereas Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Tua can throw to a spot before a receiver is there. Lamar Jackson, Tannehill, Cam Newton, these kind of guys throw when the break happens. They see the break, then they throw it. These guys throw before the break.
No, you're making some good points about
I'm explaining what a real quarterback looks like compared to an athlete.
Now I get to talk. So
Okay.
Tua Tagovailoa, you're making some good points about his strengths. And this is, of course, a fascinating game and a fascinating week because the Dolphins made a decision to move on from Ryan Tannehill, believing that he could never be a championship caliber quarterback. They gutted their organization. They tanked for Tua. They got Tua. And now the question is, do they have the right guy? Do they have the guy that it was worth burning it all to the ground for? And I will say, in having watched a lot of Ryan Tannehill and Tua Tagovailoa reps, the one thing that Tannehill has shown the ability to do a little better and a little more consistently is to throw the deep ball. He is a good deep ball thrower. Yes, that is my opinion. Orlando. Ryan Tannehill.
Give him Derrick Henry and he'll throw the deep ball too, bro.
Right.
He'll throw the deep ball too. I mean, come on, dude. Seriously?
I'm telling you that one of the things that Tua is going to have to show moving forward is that he can more consistently and more frequently strike on the deeper passes. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, but I know he can do that. I saw it in Alabama, my brother. But he had a running game and an offensive line in Alabama. He has no running game and offensive line here, my brother. He did drop one in the basket of Matt Collins this past week, right? I mean, that's kind of what you want, but he can't do that on a consistent basis if you don't block for him consistently, if you don't run for him consistently. If you give him Derrick Henry in that line, my God, of course he'll light it up downfield several times because those linebackers are sucked in, Joe. And all of a sudden, they're so worried about Derrick Henry that the middle of that field becomes open. It's elementary. Now the middle of the field isn't open. And is Ryan the same quarterback? He's no longer the same quarterback anymore. He still has a good offensive line, although Luan's been out. But he hasn't had the running game, the same running game that he had before, the one that scares the crap out of people. Miami has none of those threats, man. That's why, to me, I don't understand how people don't see the fact that if you don't have an offensive line and a running game, how in the hell are you going to play the deep game?
I do think this. In the same way, there are only a small handful of truly, elite. Just, the Aaron Rodgerses of the world is the point I'm making, the Tom Brady of the world. There's only a small handful of truly great quarterbacks. Right. There are actually only a handful of great offensive lines. Most NFL offensive lines stink. If you read the articles from around the NFL, 70% of the NFL writers are writing about their offensive line woes. So it's a very common problem. And it is sort of true that many quarterbacks, not just Tua Tagovailoa, are called upon to overcome the team's offensive line deficiencies. This is a common issue. It's not as though the Dolphins, as bad as they've been, are the only team that have had a very. I want to ask you this, and as part of our conversation, the Dolphins sort of showed their cards. I want to ask your opinion on this. They sort of showed their cards before the trading deadline, in my opinion, in their certain willingness to move on from Tua Tagovailoa and their desire to add a perceived superstar quarterback like Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm forming my opinion on this. Do you think Tua's performance in the last 7 games has altered the franchise's stance, or do you actually honestly believe that they've shown their cards, they're willing to move on from Tua? Nothing Tua has done in the last 7 games, nothing he can do in the last 2 games could or would alter their opinion.
Here's what I'll tell you. I'm pretty sure of what's going on inside that building. There are people that are in Tua's camp, and there are people that are not in Tua's camp, and there's a fight behind the scenes about keeping Tua or trading Tua, and not everybody is on board to trade for Watson. And so that's something that I think will come out in the offseason, that people will find out that certain people weren't on the Tua bandwagon, like Flores was never on the Tua bandwagon, never on the Tua bandwagon. That will eventually be reported by someone locally or someone nationally. That's what's going on in that building. There is a rift going on. There's a problem. There is a lot of what went on with Gase and a lot of what went on with Philbin is going on with Flo, and it'll come out in the offseason. Flo has a problem with people, and he goes to that front office a lot to get rid of players. And they've been forced to get rid of players at times that they didn't want to get rid
Yeah,
of.
Van Noy, McCain, Flowers, I get it.
Fitzpatrick, they didn't want to get rid of Minka. That was all Flo. It was Flo and him that couldn't get along, and they were forced to get rid of him. It's another one too. There's all kinds of issues behind the scenes. It's not, everybody's not in lockstep back there. I'm telling you, it'll all come out. Either you'll break it, or Omar or Schefter or somebody. It'll come out that there's a rift going on in that building right now.
Just to play devil's advocate, there's generally a push and pull, a give and take, arguments behind the scenes in almost all NFL situations.
Mm-hmm.
It can be healthy. The problem is if it ever reaches the point where it's not healthy and it's toxic.
I think it's at the point where it's not healthy. But you'll see. Yeah, I think it'll all come out in the offseason, or maybe they'll try to hide it for one more year if they can and all that, depending on how this thing ends. But I think eventually there's a lot of stuff that's going to hit the fan when it's all said and done. There's a problem in the building, and they've got to address that issue, because if not, eventually it's going to cost everybody their jobs.
So relative to the changing of the opinion, so those who are in the Tua corner might have a little more ammunition to say, hey, let's protect our resources and not give them all up if Tua actually wins the last 9 games. So I think there is an argument there that maybe
the head coach,
Stephen Ross, maybe, Brian Flores, maybe.
Well, the head coach specifically is falling on his face right now, because he was not a Tua guy ever. I wasn't a Tua guy from the get-go.
Well,
and
but
so
here's
now
my thought.
Tua's kind of made him look bad to a certain extent. That when he dissed Brissett and said, no, stay there, we're going to go with Tua, that was a watershed moment for him.
In terms
because he really thought he could make it work with Brissett. And that was the moment where he finally figured out, yeah, this doesn't work with this guy. It took him a while to figure that out. He really thought he could make it work with Brissett. And then he said, no, he's healthy enough. Get him in there and keep him in there. You stay. And then
I'm going to think that Brian Flores wasn't a big fan of hearing Tua say that he didn't have the mastery of the playbook that he should have.
Oh, honesty? No, yeah.
Well, no, not just the honesty part. The not having the mastery of the playbook that he should have was kind of a knock, I think. That hurts a little bit too. And then
when the OC tells the head coach he's not ready, and yet he still wants to play him,
And then Flo's perception of Tua's physical limitations, if in fact they exist, size, arm strength, durability. Okay, not just Tua. Those who are skeptical of Tua will say that no matter how many games Tua wins, those are going to be concerns.
Yeah. Well, listen, his durability should always be a concern. That's a legitimate concern. The size, the arm, I've seen guys this size. I've seen that arm. They can succeed in this league as long as they're really smart. And I've watched it in Bob Greasy. I've watched it in Drew Brees. Hell, even Chad Pennington has his arm. He was taller, but he had his arm. Chad Pennington didn't have an arm. Chad Pennington had a decent arm, but he was super smart and accurate and ball placement and anticipatory skills. When you have that, you can easily be a quarterback at this level. You know what I mean? Because it just, you know exactly how to make the plays happen, even if you have to do it ahead of time, because you know exactly where the receiver is going to be. So to me, I don't worry about his athleticism or his arm. I worry only about his durability. But Joe, if they don't protect him and they don't give him a running game, he won't have a long career.
Well, they've certainly invested the resources. All right, I got to roll in a minute. I just want to make sure to let you know these two things. One,
by the way, nice job by you in trying to get that question into flow. I noticed in the press conference about the trade and all that with Tannehill. He completely avoided, like he avoids everybody's questions. Well, I'm not thinking about that now and all that kind of stuff. But it was a great try. It was a great try.
The truth of the matter is, no matter who the head coach was, Ryan Tannehill was out. That was part of the deal in the interview process.
Yeah.
So it's not as though Flo is the reason Tannehill is gone, just to be fair.
Yeah, I don't blame that on Flo, dude. It was time to turn things.
I do hope the Dolphins win on Sunday. I do hope the Dolphins win the final two games. I do hope I get to cover a playoff game. I do hope Tua Tagovailoa plays well. I'm writing a column on Sunday. I want to write about how, Tua appears to have turned a corner, and there's every indication he can be the franchise. I would love to do that because I think it's a great story, and I think it's great for the fans. I do need to say that I picked the Titans to win 22-21.
I saw all of you in the Palm Beach Post pick the Titans to win. Even your editor, which Puglisi,
yeah.
Puglisi,
he's a former NFL reporter, yeah.
Yeah. He
So I have some concerns about the Titans defense and Jeffrey Simmons. I have some concerns about A.J. Brown.
Sure.
There's a reason the Dolphins are an underdog in this ball game. I don't think Ryan Tannehill is the scrub that you think he is. I think he's going to play reasonably well. I think he's going to play reasonably well. That's my projection. That's my prediction. I hope I'm wrong, but I am picking the Titans to win by 1 point and end the Dolphins' playoff dreams.
There you go. Follow him on Twitter at Shad Joe. Catch his work there at the Palm Beach Post. And catch him here twice a week with the AmericanDreamLending.com Miami Dolphins weekly report. Joe, thank you as always, my friend. Enjoy the game on Sunday.
Take care, bud.
You got it, baby. There you go. Excellent segment there with Joe. Let's take a break. Hour number 3 is next. Matt Verderame from Fansided will join us. He put out a power ranking, and it's interesting where he had the Dolphins. We'll talk about that next.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
South Florida's premier law enforcement agency is now hiring individuals like you. The Fort Lauderdale Police Department is now accepting applications for non-certified and certified police officer positions. Minimum requirements and qualifications can be found at flpdjobs.com. That's flpdjobs.com. Are you ready? The city of Fort Lauderdale is an equal opportunity employer. When you're ready to purchase a new home loan or refinance the one you have, American Dream Lending will make sure your loan experience is easy with fast approvals and quick closings. With many loan programs and competitive rates, now is the time to turn your dreams into reality. Ask about special financing for veterans. They never charge an application fee, and you will work directly with one of their experienced loan professionals. Stop dreaming and contact American Dream Lending today. 786-802-1727 or online at adreamlending.com. When protecting your family is your priority, there's nothing more important than a roof above the people you love. Call Tommy B. Butts Jr. Enterprises.com, 954-735-9826 or 954-394-1411 and ask to speak to Tommy, the owner. They specialize in all kinds of roofs, led by their highly crafted, skilled, and professional roof mechanics. All of their previous customers have an opportunity to enter their bi-weekly drawings to receive free an exterior impact metal door. Please call for more details. That's Tommy B. Butts Jr. Enterprises.com, 954-735-9826 or 954-394-1411. Trust Tommy to fortify and protect what's most important to you, your family. The Big O Radio Show is looking for an experienced salesperson in the radio or TV business. The candidate must have at least 5 years of sales experience in the broadcast business over the last 10 years. Please email your phone number and resume to BigORadioShow@yahoo.com. That's BigORadioShow@yahoo.com. Looking for an aggressive person who can help our platform expand into many avenues in our business. Reach out if you are the person that's able to make the difference. The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All right. Welcome back. Hour number 3. We are awaiting Matt Verderame from Fansided to join us. We'll get his thoughts on the Dolphins. He took out his latest power rankings there at Fansided, and so I want to go over it. He's got the Dolphins at number 14, which is I thought it was pretty respectful overall, and I guess resent him a link there. And so what's it called? So we'll get him now on, and we will talk to Matt and get his thoughts on the Dolphins. But I thought he gave the Finns some respect overall. I think 14 is pretty fair. The Dolphin defense, man, is awesome. You know, it is definitely awesome, and I think that's the one thing that is getting the respect for a lot of people around the league is that that defense is special. And this is why I've said many times already, a couple times, that this is why I worry about the offensive coaches on this team and can Flo fix it, because I've gone through the nightmare. You've gone through the nightmare. We watched Jason Taylor and Zach Thomas and Pat Surtain and Sam Madison and Tim Bowens get old in front of our eyes. And we watched Cam Wake and Jones and some other guys, you know, Paul Soliai and stuff like that, get old before our eyes and move on and retire or whatever. And these are things that I don't want to happen while I'm watching Jalen Phillips and I'm watching Brandon Jones and Javon Holland and Raekwon Davis, you know, all these young studs that you're developing. I don't want them to get old because you can't solve the offense. And that is a nightmare that I have in my mind from the last 25 years. And technically, I can even go farther than that because I watched Marino get old because you couldn't solve the running game or the defense. You understand? And so, I am terrified that the Dolphins are in the same position with Flo that they've been in the past with others, that the guy's just half a coach and can't figure out the other half. Technically, the other 2/3, because special teams has taken a step back too. I got to say, I can't say these are elite special teamers. You know what I'm saying? So these are the things that I worry about as a Dolphins fan. And some of you, maybe it's not you don't look at it, you don't think about it, but just these are the things that go through my mind that I Danny says, "Big O, I love your interviews and want your arguments on my side. However, would not want you as judge or jury." Yeah, if you're guilty, yeah, you wouldn't want me as a judge. Yeah, definitely not. Throw the book at his ass. All right, let's see. If you don't think Tua is being held back by the environment around him, you either don't know football or you're a blind ass Tua hater. I'm with you there, man. I mean, how can you not tell that the crap around him is holding him back? Just watch Aaron. It's like what Joe told me. Well, he's got to get better in the deep ball. I go, well, you didn't watch Alabama? Like he threw the deep ball there. They weren't all short passes. He had a line there. He threw the deep ball. You know what I mean? It's like I know he can throw the deep ball. Not worried about that. I just saw him throw it to Matt Collins. I've seen him throw it to Jalen Waddle. I've seen him throw it to Devontae Parker. He can throw the deep ball. It's not my concern. My concern is that you block for the young man and get a running game and support him the right way. That's my concern because he can't be taking hits and hits because he doesn't have the kind of body that is going to put up with that kind of pounding. You know? So, I mean, that's just me. What can I tell you? All right, 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056. Let's talk a little Miami Dolphins football. Matt Verderame from Fansided, ready to join us now. You can follow him on Twitter like I and many others do at Matt Verderame. Better yet, you follow him and catch his work there at Fansided. He does excellent work, and he came up with some power rankings this week. And the Miami Dolphins, I think, have a respectable standing in his power rankings. Let's bring him aboard. Let's bring Matt Verderame on. Let's do it. Matt, good afternoon, my friend. How are you doing, sir?
Doing good, Big O. How are you?
Good, man. Can't complain. Loving life, and obviously this comeback by the Dolphins after 1-7, they are somehow alive now at 8-7, dude. Where are you? Because there's a lot of people downplaying the streak because it's lesser teams and all that kind of stuff. But last time I checked, the Dolphins weren't Kansas City, so I don't know what standard we're holding them to. But I'm just wondering how do you view a 7-game winning streak in the NFL?
I view it as really hard to do. I don't care who you're playing. Look, are the Dolphins playing some of the weaker teams in the league? Yeah, they are, but they're beating them. The Dolphins were one of the weakest teams in the league at 1-7, so they've turned it around. I will say this: I think their defense is absolutely legit. I thought it was coming into the year. Didn't play well early. Their defense is knocking the hell out of people, whether or not it's a bad team, a good team, whatever. That their defense with Flores leading the way and then those corners, they can play. Now, I think offensively, are they a little limited in some ways? Yeah, they are. They are. But Waddle gives them some explosiveness. You always can get a chunk play with him. They can get the ball in his hands in a variety of ways. So I do think the Dolphins, look, they got to scheme around the offensive line somewhat. All that's true. But they can win games. They're 8-7. They're sitting in a playoff spot right now. If they win out, they're in. So give them all the credit in the world. They make the playoffs. It's one of the great turnarounds in NFL history.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. There's no doubt it's one of the great turnarounds from, back to the Houston Oilers days.
Right.
We got to go back to something like that with Warren Moon and the boys when they made I think they were 1-5, I believe, and then went on to win 10 straight games or something like that and get into the playoffs. And so watching everything that's going on, so is it about this defense for you? Because this looks like a top 5 defense in the NFL. And when I saw you give them a 14 ranking, I was like, man, that's really, that's a really nice ranking, and it's got to be powered by that defense.
It is. It is. And look, I think right now with the Dolphins, and by the way, if they win this weekend, they're going to move up quite a bit. But they're really good on all levels defensively. I mean, up front, they don't have a Bosa brother up front. They don't have a Chase Young when he's healthy, but they've got a lot of guys who can get there. Jalen Phillips is a good player. Emmanuel Ogbah has been one of the better pickups over the last couple of years. Guy they're not paying a lot of money to, comes over from Kansas City, has been really good for him. And they've just got other guys. Wilkins is a really, really good player inside. They threaten you from a multitude of areas. I mean, Brandon Jones, a safety, he's got 5 sacks. So this is a team that they get it done in a lot of different ways, and their corner tandem's as good as any in football, right? I mean, Howard is tremendous, and Jones is really good. So you have this group that is really talented, and it's coached by a guy who knows how to coach defense. So you combine the two things, they're dangerous. Like, I think the Titans are a better team. That being said, I also think the Dolphins could go in there and force 2 or 3 turnovers and win the game. Like, they're talented enough on that side of the ball to do it. And Tua, while limited, if he doesn't turn the ball over, they can win. So I think that's where you are at the Dolphins.
Now, let me ask you, because I've had this conversation with a couple people. You don't look at Tua as limited because he's limited as a player. You look at it because the offensive line sucks and they can't run the ball and they don't give him time. Is it that why? Because in Alabama, because I kind of freak out with people, the deep ball. Well, dude, he threw it in Alabama, but he had a line and a running game there. So how are you looking at it, Matt? Because, I was having this conversation with somebody that Mac Jones plays in a box because Belichick puts him in a box.
Right.
But Tua plays in a box because he has no effing choice because he'll get killed behind that line. So I'm wondering, do you see it the same way or do you see it differently?
I think I think it's hard to say whether Tua is limited or not at this level, because I agree with you. The time he's been there, they haven't had the ability to give him 4 seconds to throw the ball down the field. His accuracy is not in question. And I got to tell you, I thought the best play of Monday Night Football was that deep ball he threw down the sideline when they were backed up. I mean, that ball was nails. That was right on him. And if it wasn't right on him, it's not caught. That was good coverage. Lays it right in there over the top of Hollins. Beautiful throw. I think the talent's there. Like, I remember watching him last year against Kansas City when they were trailing big, and he was throwing it all over the play, all over the yard, got him back in the game. I think it's impossible for me to say, I think he can definitely do it all the time, and because he hasn't had the ability to show it yet. Right. But I also think if you want to sit there and say, well, he just can't do it. Look, so much of being a young quarterback in the NFL is built off circumstances. I think Trevor Lawrence could be great, but he's in Jacksonville, and he has no support, and they suck. Right? I mean, that guy has no chance. Okay, now, Mac Jones, you brought him up. Mac Jones has largely been successful this year because they run the hell out of the ball. They're really well coached. They have to score 16 points a game because of their defense. And he can dink and dunk and dink and dunk. And, hey, make 2 good throws a game, and it's fine. And you saw what happened when Mac Jones had to go out and win a game on Sunday. Right. The Bills scored 33 points and said, go ahead, Mac, beat us. And he went 14-31 with 2 picks. And that was ball game.
Right.
So a lot of it's circumstance, unless you are just a rare air guy who you just like a Mahomes, maybe even a Herbert to some extent, where you just transcend that.
Right.
But look at Burrow. Burrow was really inconsistent his rookie year before he got hurt. Well, now the Bengals are better around them, and the guy's playing like an MVP candidate. So a lot of it's circumstance.
Right. Exactly. It's Steve Young in Tampa and then Steve Young in San Francisco. It's, I always use that example because it's perfect. You know what I mean? If you watched him in the USFL, he was kicking ass. Then he goes to Tampa where they had his original rights and he was terrible. And then Bill Walsh goes, no, that guy's not bad. Let me have him over here. And the rest is history. You know what I'm saying?
It's just, I think sometimes, people look at a guy and he gets drafted somewhere and either he's incredibly surrounded and it's like, oh, wow, he's really, really good. And then as the years go on, it's like, well, he's okay, but Or it's the situation of like guys we're talking about where like Justin Fields is another one. I think Justin Fields is really talented. Now, does it work out? Who knows? But it's not going to work out with that bum fest in Chicago. It's just not. They stink. They can't block anybody. The coach doesn't know what he's doing. Like I grew up as a Chiefs fan my whole life. My father's a Chiefs fan. And I watched as a kid, they had quarterback after quarterback after quarterback, just could never play. Then they got Mahomes. And it was like, oh my God. Like with him, with these Hall of Fame weapons, they're gonna win a lot of football games. Now, would he have been good if he had gone to Jacksonville? I mean, he's so great. Yeah, he probably still would have been, but would he be this? Probably
No.
not.
No, of course not. He doesn't
Right?
have Andy Reid.
Probably not. Like they're probably
Of
winning
course
like 8 games.
Right.
And he's thrown for 1,000,000 yards, and people are like, oh, he's a fantasy football quarterback. But, well, he's got Tyreek Hill and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce and a great offensive line. And guess what? He throws for 5,000 yards, and they win Super Bowls. Like, so much of this. I'd like to see Tua behind a really good offensive line with like you said, a running game. Gesicki's an excellent tight end, but I'd like to see him add to this offense. And then let's see. Maybe this is what he is. Maybe there's a lot more that he just has not had the chance to unlock yet.
Matt, I think Tua looks around and goes, man, I had a better coaching staff in Alabama.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the offensive coaching
A lot of
staff
guys
in
in Alabama
Miami is terrible. Terrible, dude. And look, a great example of what you're talking about is young Ben Roethlisberger, the first go around in the Super Bowl. It was like, kid, just don't screw it up.
Right. Hand off.
We got the
Let our
rest.
defense win.
Make 2 or 3 throws for us. Shut the hell up. Relax. We'll do the rest for you. And then it was a different Ben Roethlisberger a couple of years later, obviously, who was the guy carrying and was the main guy and all that kind of stuff.
For sure.
And that's the difference between youth and inexperience and then and being surrounded by a championship caliber roster that you're able to do it. And then years later, you're primed and ready to go and ready for a championship run because you're now experienced at that point and you can now be the guy at that moment, which is some of the stuff that you were talking about, that sometimes you step into a situation that it's so good around you that it's really going to, help you excel.
Look, I'm not saying Tua is going to become this guy because I don't know that anybody will, but like Tom Brady, the first 3 years that they won the Super Bowl, Tom Brady was a caretaker on that team.
Right.
He was. Now, he also had some
great
huge
plays.
moments, right? I'm not saying he just was a passenger, but that was a team that had Corey Dillon. They ran the ball. They did not have great receivers. Troy Brown was really the one receiver on that team. Deion Branch kind of asserted himself later on as they won the back-to-back years. But
Jermaine Wiggins was the tight end.
I mean, David Patton. Like, that was not a group that you're like the years that he had his best receivers, Welker and Moss, they never won a Super Bowl.
Right.
So, but you look at that team. Well, why did that team win the Super Bowl? Well, because they had William McGinnis and Teddy Bruschi and Ty Law and Lawyer Malloy, right? And Vince Wilfork and Richard Seymour, all these guys. That's why they won the Super Bowl those years. That's why. And Belichick coaching them. And Brady, listen, he stayed out of the way. And when they needed him, he stepped up. And that's what made him great in the beginning. And now, of course, he's prolific and whatnot. But so often with the young quarterback, it's about, hey, don't lose the game.
Right. Don't screw
and
it
if
up.
there's 4 or 5 plays we need you to make, great. Hopefully you can make them. And that's, look, I look at the Colts a lot like that to some degree this year. Like, the Colts have this great running game. They're very good defensively. Awesome coaching staff. But now Wentz is older. Wentz is a little bit more who he is at this point. But, like, I look at them and I hear so many people say they're the most dangerous team in the AFC. At some point, Wentz is going to have to make 4, 5, 6 throws where they're behind 24-13 in a game. What's going to happen? Like, with Wentz, I kind of think I know what's going to happen. But with these younger kids, you don't know yet. You don't know, and you won't know for a few more years.
Now, Matt, here's the other thing that I'm a Tua guy. I believe in Tua. I think outside of injuries, that's the only thing I've ever been concerned with because he just doesn't have a durable body. So you've got to
smaller frame. Yep.
Yeah, you've got to protect his ass and get a running game in the end, because if not, he's not gonna have a long career. He can't take a pounding. That's the one thing that I am concerned about. But I'm not concerned about his ability or playmaking or anything like that. But here's where I kind of trip out on people. Well, he's having success because they're running a short passing game, short intermediate. And then I turn to people and I say, okay, so do you think that that's easy? Because if it was easy, Ian Book would have done it against Miami. If it's easy, then Trevor Lawrence does it against everybody else. If it's easy, every young quarterback says, hey, let's start off with the short passing game. And the aforementioned Tom Brady in those early years that he's throwing to all those Oompa Loompas, it was a short passing game. But the part that I try to get to people, and I wonder if, you agree with me or disagree, is if you think that's easy, why isn't it everybody doing it? And to be that accurate, and you're the Dolphins and you're limited, and all your drives are 10, 12, and 14
Right.
plays. Do you know how incredibly consistent you have to be in order to pull this shit off? Down in and down out, like Brady did, and like Tua's doing now because he has no choice. It's a lot harder than people make it sound.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. You got to be so accurate because when you're doing that, there's not a lot of margin for error. You don't have the ability to overshoot a guy because now 3rd and 10, you're dead. Like that's the hard part of it is you have to be very accurate and very consistent. And there are some guys in the NFL. I mean, look, Zach Wilson to this point in his career, now, he's a young kid, but I'll say this: I think of all the young guys, he scares me the most. Like he just misses throws. You're like, bro, you got to hit that. That guy's wide open. Now the Jets are a tire fire, so I also am not willing to throw that kid in the dumpster yet either.
Right.
But you're right. Like you have to be very accurate. Now, the hard part with that is eventually, if you play a team that is prolific, you fall into a spot where you got to be more aggressive and take some more chances. And
Of course.
That's where it becomes hard. And
Right.
that's why, we talked about at the beginning, like the Dolphins maybe aren't one of these teams. You're like, oh, they're going to win the Super Bowl. But if I'm the Dolphins, if I get in the playoffs this year, that's a big win. Like, especially considering the way the year started. But even if it had started normally and you went 10-7 and made the playoffs, like that's fine. That's not a bad season.
And it's progress.
It is, of course it is. And then
That's what it is.
And then you have to go about drafting well and finding, okay, who are going to be some of these guys who are like, you can't find Austin Jackson in the draft. Right? There's got to be you got to find better guys. You got to I think defensively, you're in pretty good position. Right? Like, I don't think there needs to be any huge upgrade there. I mean, I'm not saying you can't make a moderate, but you always can. You always can make moderate upgrades. They have to fix their offensive line. However they have to do it, that's what they have to do.
Yeah.
That needs to be everything. Now, and I know, at the beginning and middle of the year, everybody was talking about Deshaun Watson, this and that. You could bring in Deshaun Watson, and look, this is no knock on Tua. I mean, Deshaun Watson, from a purely football standpoint, would be an upgrade over 25 guys in the league. Okay. That being said,
by the way, somebody mentioned the great stat to me. The Texans have won as many games this year as they did last year with Deshaun Watson. Just saying.
No, that's interesting. That is interesting. But I'll say this though, like if you don't have a better line in front of Deshaun Watson, he's going to get killed.
Right.
You don't win the Super Bowl, like it doesn't matter. Look at the Chiefs last year in the Super Bowl.
Amen.
They had a million injuries up front. That game was a killing. They couldn't block. It didn't matter. Mahomes back there
got his ass kicked
for 9 points.
Yeah.
I mean, and I love, after the game, you talk about what drives you nuts. People had me on the radios and like, well, what was wrong with Mahomes? I'm like, did you see the game? Like, what was wrong with him? He was on his back.
Right.
Like, he had no chance. And that's where, look, if you can block in the NFL, you can win. And I give the Dolphins a lot of credit for that. Have that offensive line be 8-7 says that you're doing a lot of things right around that offensive line.
I'll give you a great stat. You know where Tua is in sacks in the NFL?
I don't. Not off the top of my head.
32nd. He's got 15 sacks this year.
It's incredible.
Jabroni Brisket, who backs him up, has got 19. He's played less games than Tua, and he's got 4 more sacks than him. The guy they're playing this week, Ryan Tannehill, is number 2 in the NFL at 45. Yeah, but he has no pocket presence. But my point is, having said all that, you got the shittiest line in the NFL. You have no running game. Everyone knows the ball is going to Waddle. He still completes it to Waddle, and he's learned to play in chaos that he's only been sacked 15 times. Now, if you had cracked ribs, you'd probably stay away from sacks too as much.
Yeah, I get the ball pretty quick.
You know what I'm saying? But to his credit, Matt, you've covered the NFL a long time. You and I know a lot about this league. Young players don't adjust like that with intelligence that quickly to learn how to get rid of the ball, to be accurate, all that stuff. That's why I laugh at people that downplay a young quarterback succeeding in chaos.
When you're surrounded by all that stuff, you succeed any way you can.
Exactly. And when you can do that, can you imagine when you give them a line, when you give them a running game? Oh, my God, you might have Alabama results.
Good. I think people have to be patient. It's not you get ruined by this idea that everybody's got to come out and be Herbert right away and be, how many games did they win last year?
Right.
As great as
Well,
Herbert was, how many
exactly.
games did they win?
I love you,
Right?
bro. I love you, bro. Because
Herbert's
that's what I tell everybody
awesome.
too. He's all world in talent. Now let's see if he can win, because that's the thing he didn't do at Oregon. Actually, he didn't have those big moments, and he didn't go beat any SEC teams and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, he looks beautiful. He's got great talent. Look, he peed in his pants here against Houston this past week. These are the things you need to see him do. Yeah, he's got talent. Now he's got to show you he can win too. That's the next thing.
Let's be real. In the end, that's what people keep their jobs over, and that's what matters. Like, yes, I think Herbert's awesome.
Yeah.
He's got a losing record. And now that's not all on him. The Chargers have not, their offensive line has not exactly been a pillar of strength either. Like, I
But
love
still better than Miami's.
it.
The left tackle they drafted is better than the entire line Miami has.
Yeah, no, listen, that's no doubt, right? But I mean, he's on his second head coach and all that stuff, and look, Herbert's awesome. But again, like in the end, right now, Herbert and the Dolphins and the Chargers, they have the same record right now. And the Chargers, let's just be honest. I mean, the Chargers are more talented,
Better team,
not even close, right?
Yeah.
So
way better receiving core.
yes,
They have Jalen Waddle, but they have Williams, and they have
and
an
they've got Allen, and they've got
all-pro
Eckler.
and Keenan Allen, bro.
They swing out to Eckler, who's maybe the best receiving back in the NFL. Like, look, they're more talented offensively. It's not even close. And again, I think people get way too caught up in the fantasy football aspect of it. Like, give these kids, all of them, a couple years. There's sometimes you watch a guy and you're like, all right, he just can't play. But I don't think any of these kids right now you can look at and just go, look, Burrow had no offensive line last year and got buried over and over and over and over and over. They couldn't win crap. And then they got a little bit better. They're still not great up front, but they've gotten a little bit better. They've gotten some better weapons. And now you look at him, he's throwing for 4,100 yards.
He's balling.
And
he's balling.
they got a great shot to win the division. And why?
He's the one out of all the young guys. He's the one for me that already has for me that label. Like, yeah, that's the guy.
I'll tell you what, and I'll say it
guy.
quickly. But when I watched them play the Chargers a couple weeks ago and they lost, that was when I was ultimately sold on him. I mean, I love the talent, no doubt. But
of course,
when he hurt his hand in that game, and you could tell, like, sometimes a guy you may ham it up for the camera a little bit. Like Roethlisberger's famous, right? He limps off after every drive. Burrow, like, he really hurt his throwing hand, and he just stayed in there and he took hits and he kept gunning it. And I was like, you know what? If you've ever been around the NFL, you've ever been in the locker room, guys will see that. They will play to the end for that guy every week. That stuff matters. Like Tua playing through these ribs, guys see that because the fans don't see guys in the locker room when he's getting taped up, when he's getting shot up, when he's going through it. They see it.
Yes,
that matters to those guys, and I think that's something that's underrated. It does. It plays a big part in the locker room, and it plays a big part in how hard guys will play for them.
Matt, what are you working on Fansided so folks can check you out, my friend?
Oh, God, a lot. Stack in the Box podcast. In fact, in about a half hour, going live on YouTube with that over to Stack in the Box channel. We've got the column, Stack in the Box, goes up every Monday. And then quarterback rankings on Tuesday, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot. And if you can't find any of that stuff, you can find me on Twitter where I basically live. So
yeah, that's right. Follow him there at Matt Verderame, and make sure you catch his work there at Fansided. Catch the podcast, subscribe to it. Good work as always, Matt. Love you, brother. Thank you for joining us as always, man. I appreciate you giving us some time.
Hey, no problem. Have a happy New Year.
You got it. You too, baby. Be good. There you go. Happy New Year, man. Good stuff. All right, give me 30 seconds. No? You don't want me to give you 30 seconds? No? All right, 30 seconds, and we're back with your questions, comments, and all kinds of good stuff. Great job by Matt Verderame.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
All right, we are back here. Headed down the home stretch, baby. Final half hour of the program. I got it this time, Sean. I got it. I blocked him. I blocked him. I got love face on the first shot, baby. First shot. I faced love face. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the interview with Matt Verderame. I always love having Matt on. Good stuff as always with Matt. Eric says, I like Hunt coming out, but would have taken Jonathan Taylor out of Wisconsin. Could not understand how he fell to the second round when he dominated in college. Yeah, running backs, bro. What are you talking about? Running backs fall all the time. Running backs aren't taken that high anymore in the draft. It's rare nowadays. Yeah, he had a couple of injuries also. So, but again, second round is actually a really good round for a running back nowadays. That's normal. And if the Dolphins if they draft a running back this year, it'll probably be in the second round, because running backs that's something that's interchangeable. The most important thing is to build that offensive line. You build the offensive line and you can draft a fourth round running back and he'll be awesome for you. You know what I'm saying? So this whole thing that, oh my God, we got to get him early and all that, you don't have to get a running back early. What you have to do is build up the line in a big time way. That's what you have to do. If you don't build up the line, it doesn't matter what running back you have. They're going to get killed. They're going to take a pounding. Your quarterback's going to get injured. It's first and foremost, fix the line, and they've got to do it with veterans this year. That's what I would suggest. If I don't know who's going to be a free agent, and I don't know who's going to be released or who's available via trade or whatever, but if you can grab 2 veteran linemen, established linemen, really good linemen that you've got to pay a boatload of money to, and you've got to overpay because that's what you do pretty much, 99% of the time in free agency. Very few times you end up with an Emmanuel Ogbah where you find a steal and you don't have to pay him that much and you're getting a lot of production out of it. Those things are few and far between. As you all know, you usually end up overpaying in free agency. But this is the year that if the Dolphins have to overpay, you overpay for that offensive line. Because if you're going to make a commitment to your quarterback, let's protect him. No, you don't draft a quarterback so he can take a pounding and then he, says, you know what? I'm not interested in this anymore. My name's Andrew Luck. I'm done. That doesn't fly. You need to protect a guy. So let's see if they build that lineup first. And it doesn't matter who the running back is. You'll be successful. Totally agree. O-line is the most important reason I was not too upset with Hunt over Taylor. Love Taylor, though. Listen, there's plenty of running backs that have come out that are pretty damn good. But it's more about the offensive line than anything else. And if Hunt turns into a good player, then I'm fine with that pick. I'm fine with any of these linemen if they turn into good linemen. All right? But first of all, go get yourself an offensive line coach. That's the other thing they know in that building. In that building, they know they don't have an offensive line coach. Okay? In that building, I'm telling you, they know they have a weakness at the offensive line coach. They will make a change. Conspiracy theory time. Flo throws the last 2 games to get rid of Tua. Wow, that's a vivid imagination right there, bro. Who are the 2 veteran linemen you would go for? Well, Justin, let me find out who's available, right? And whatever. What has been the theme on the show? We're not moving ahead of ourselves here. Okay? When the season ends for the Dolphins, then I will officially start talking names of free agents, drafts, all that kind of stuff. Okay, but for now, I don't know who's available. I'm not looking. I don't care Plus, we don't even have all the information at this point in time. And we won't have all the information till the end of the year anyway. That's when we'll find out who will get tagged, who won't, who will get traded, who's available, who's not, who's injured, all that kind of stuff. So then when we get to that point, we'll talk about who are the linemen they should go after. Hakeem says, Big O pundits highlights our strength of schedule during our win streak, but ignore we're not only beat the teams we were supposed to beat, but ones we were not supposed to beat. What are your thoughts? Well, I've talked about this many times, Hakeem. I've got nothing but praise for this streak. But like I said earlier on the show, and you can listen to that one, it's really all about the history of the Dolphins. And it's a label that they've got to shed. And that's really what it's all about. And if you win the next 2 games, you will start to shed that label. Okay? Don Harper says, don't you worry that Mike Gesicki and Devontae Parker are unhappy about the lack of targets they get every game. And don't you think Fuller is holding out because of the Deshaun Watson situation? Well, I don't know, bro. Apparently he shattered his finger. So, you know what? At this point, I don't give a crap about Fuller anymore. I just care about the players that are here. So I'd rather just pull for those guys. And that's it. I hope Will Fuller, well, apparently he's not coming back, and I'm glad he's not coming back. Once Waddle puts on more size, can be a lot like Deebo Samuel with that speed. No, he will never be Deebo Samuel with that speed. Oh, well, he'll have the speed, but he'll never build the kind of body that Deebo Samuel is a running back playing wide receiver. I don't know if you know that. But that guy at heart is a running back. He's built like a running back. That's not what you're going to do with Waddle. You'll never build him up that way, my brother. He's a different player. Completely different player. Caddyshack says Najee is not producing like people thought because Pitt doesn't have an O-line. I talked about that a couple weeks ago, and I told Omar that, and I've been explaining that to him about that, because you can draft whatever you want, but if your O-line don't work, it doesn't matter, bro. You have to be Barry Sanders. You have to be Ricky. You have to be Gale Sayers. There's only a couple guys that I can think in the history of the NFL that can play behind this line and actually be productive, and they are freaks of all freaks. Okay? Derrick Henry would not be good in this line because he never gets any steam going. You got to get him out into the open field. You got to open up a hole for Derrick Henry to get into the second level so he gets momentum, and then he puts a shoulder into people, and that's when people start making business decisions. But if you stuff the line, Derrick's not a threatening guy anymore. And they did that this year, and they do that all the time to him in the playoffs. That's why the quarterback can't make the difference, because you stop the running back, it's over. Let's see, what else do we have? Douglas Anderson says, sign a top-tier offensive tackle in free agency, draft a top-tier wide receiver in the first round, and a top-tier running back in the second round. That could be the plan, Douglas. That makes that right there in general makes a lot of sense. If those players are there in the specific moments that you're talking about, yeah, makes sense. But it's too simplistic. It's never really that easy, is it? Let's see what else. George says, Big O Waddle actually reminds me of a potential Steve Smith type. Yeah, but not as physical, because Steve Smith can be physical. You know what I'm saying? Steve Smith Sr. Are you talking about Steve Smith, the other Steve Smith, the giant Steve Smith? If you're talking about the Baltimore, Carolina Steve Smith, no. He's a little bit more of a physical player than Waddle. Because, that Steve Smith Sr. was built like a fire hydrant, bro. Hey, that was one tough hombre, man. One tough hombre. So as broken as Finns fans, folks, are worried about next year, LOL, we're in the tournament for now. Tuttle Army says, who are the good players on the O-line besides Robert Hunt? Total, the problem is I'm not ready to pass judgment on anybody, even Austin Jackson, although he does look terrible no matter what. I want to see a real O-line coach these guys up so we can find out who can play or not. They don't have a real O-line coach. When you see that they can't pick up stunts already at this point in the season, then that tells me the coaching is just terrible. Because that's a mental thing. That has nothing to do with physical. So that means your coaching is not working. Big O, can Lynn Bowden play a Debo role, at least a serviceable wide receiver? I like Lynn Bowden, but again, I think you guys are, I think some of you are downplaying what kind of a freakish talent Debo Samuel is. You're talking about a guy that is a great athlete, has got good hands, can run, and then has the size and the power to kind of be a punishing player. Lynn Bowden or Jalen Waddle, nothing about their games is punishing. You get what I'm saying? Debo Samuel brings punishing to the game. Right now, the only guy on the Dolphins on the wide receiving core that might bring a little punishment, you know who it is? Who do you think I'm thinking of? Matt Collins. That's the only guy that I can see that can bring some punishment. A little Devontae Parker at times, because Devontae's a big guy and all that. But maybe Matt Collins is the only guy that can bring a little punishment to the position. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I don't think those players can be ever compared to Debo Samuel. I think some of you guys are not really understanding how talented Debo Samuel is. That's just not normal. Those kind of guys are not normal. Receivers that are, they you know who he reminds me of in a way? The Steeler, the guy that went from special teams from Georgia and became a great wide receiver for them. What's his name? Oh, come on. Hines Ward. Hines Ward, dude. That's who Debo Samuel plays, with the attitude of Hines Ward. And Debo's bigger than Hines Ward. But Hines Ward played with like balls that don't fit in this building. You know what I mean? He played with a toughness that you just don't see at the wide receiver position. That's Debo Samuel. Freakish, man. Freakish. There are very few punishing type players at that position. He's one of those guys. And I would put Hines Ward as another one of those kind of guys. Waddle and Lynn Bowden, not even in their dreams could ever be those kind of guys. And you know what? I don't want Waddle ever thinking he can take on a safety. Okay? Outrun him, juke him, do whatever you got to do, go out of bounds. But pull a Ted Ginn, I don't want you taking him on. Okay? Jarvis Landry. There you go. Punishing player at the wide receiver position. Okay? Waddle is Santana Moss on steroids. No, he's more like what I was telling you. Santana's still more of an athlete. Santana's a thoroughbred. You know what I mean? Let me see. You want punishing for a wide receiver? Michael Irvin. That's punishing. Okay? Michael could catch that pass in the middle and bust your ass up and get you a couple more yards. He was a tough runner with the football. Okay? That's the kind of guy we're talking about. Those kind of players. And G Firm 456, thank you, by the way, for the love on the super chat on the Waddle one. Wish we could have seen Merritt play some this season. Yeah, I'm with you, man. But that's part of what's gone on this year. Matt Collins doesn't play enough. Whenever I see Gesicki on the sidelines, I just want to run over and smack all three of the offensive coordinators like they used to do in the Three Stooges. Tak, 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 tak. Seriously, come on. How is Matt Collins and Mike Gesicki ever on the sidelines for this team? Like, what? Do they have the Marx brothers out there or something? I'm sorry, did I miss something? Is Duper and Clayton and Keith Jackson out there? That's why we're not playing Mike Gesicki and Matt Collins? Is that what's going on? These are the things that sometimes drive me crazy about our team at times, especially when you're so weak offensively. Justin says, do you think it's possible to get Jim Caldwell as an offensive coordinator? Do you think he'll only take a head coaching job like at Jacksonville, for example? Justin, I don't know what he's thinking, but I know he's interviewing now. And he was already here. So if he's gone, he's not coming back. I don't know. At this point, I'm having a hard time imagining an established veteran coach working for Flo now, because I'm already the picture's been painted in my mind that he doesn't want any veteran coaches around, which is, again, the weirdest thing that I just don't understand. Flo needs to find his Monty Clark. Tuttle, I love you because you're a good football fan. You're a smart football fan. You bring a lot of common sense a lot of times with your comments. But the problem is would a Monty Clark work for Flo? Is the problem. Or is it just young coaches that are up and coming and they got to take the job because there's only 32 of them? You see what I'm saying? And that's what I don't know, Tuttle. Is he going to take a step back and finally, humble himself and say, I need help and I need to defer? Because that's what really good leaders do. You hire people and you hire capable people so you don't have to micromanage everything that they do. If you have to micromanage all your coaches, then you hired the wrong coaches. You just did. When I was trying to put Onside together, I hired specific people that I knew that I could just let them do their jobs. I don't micromanage this dude here next to me. I can ask him a thing or two here or there or whatever, but he knows exactly what to do 100% of the time. So that's kind of what you're supposed to do. And he doesn't do that. And so if you want to micromanage everything, you're going to have problems. So I don't know if they're willing to work for him. That's my problem there. Oh, just curious. Do you know if there are exercises to improve arm strength? I think there are some, yes. But I don't think you improve it that much. You only improve a little bit. You are what you are eventually. But you can improve it, yes. But not like, if you didn't have a gun, you're never going to have a gun. Let's put it that way. Okay? You'll be able to throw it slightly faster, a little harder, a little farther, but it's not anything that, it's either you have it or you don't. That's kind of been the norm, but you can improve it. Yes. It's like a sprinter. You can tweak it. You can improve, a tenth of a second or so, but if you're running it at 4.4, you're not going to run it at 3.9. Okay? It's just the changes aren't going to go that drastic. All right? That's just the way it is. Might go to 4.3, 4.2, but you're not going to improve a whole second or anything like that. You're not doing that kind of stuff. Brissett plays like my drunken uncle on Thanksgiving. It's pretty good. Yeah, your uncle's at least pretty good. We need a Lou Polite for a short yardage play. No Brissett. Let's see. David K says Tua has to get that one brain fart throw out of his system then he gets to the next level. David K, remember, he's just completed his rookie season. So, let's relax. Guys make mistakes. And I don't want him to make a mistake. I want him to make less mistakes, but let's not make it sound like he's the only young quarterback that has to grow up and learn how to stay away from a mistake or two. Okay? So he'll figure it out. I'm not worried about that. You know when he's going to make less mistakes? When he has better talent around him. When he doesn't have to try to overcome everything. Okay? That's when he can really relax and play the game a little bit more because he has more time to throw the ball, because he can actually hand it off and have a reasonable third down to manage and those kind of things. Then you'll see even less mistakes at that point. Oh, and by the way, it'll help also if he has better coaching. Did you ever interview Mark Duper? Man, you know how many times I interviewed Duper? Several times. And, if we go to the Senior Bowl, I don't know what kind of access is going to happen yet for the Senior Bowl, but if we go, I'll run into Duper there all the time. Dupe's a good dude. I can call Duper. Let me see. I do have his number here, don't I? I'm pretty sure I got Duper's number here. Oh, no, not on this one. Let me find my old phone. I guess this is one that maybe hasn't transferred. Got to find it on my own phone. But you know what? I could call Duper and get him on. Duper's a good dude, man. Really nice guy. I've had him on several times. Clayton I've only had on a couple of times. Duper I've had on a ton. Tuttle says, I think you hit it on the head, Big O. Flo has to let his ego go and trust the right established veterans to run the offense and offensive line. I think Flo has enough respect around the league that he can, I guess you mean. I don't know about that yet. That's the part we don't know, Tuttle. We're going to find out this if they keep him, we're going to find out what kind of changes he makes this year. Because if there's any mea culpa within that building where he really wants to make a change, then you'll see a veteran coach come on board. But if you see that it's more young guys and more inexperienced, then yeah, we're getting some of the same. And that's the sad part. Hope you interview Mercury Morris. I would love to ask him a question about the Sea of Hands game. Yeah, I've had Merc on several times too. That's another one. Merc is great. Wait a minute. Didn't we get Mercury? No, we didn't get him the other night. He was there, but we couldn't get him. Yeah, I talked to him. Yeah, I talked to him, but I couldn't get him that night. That's right. At Larry Little's thing, I was trying to get Merc because Merc is always a great talker, man. He's always fun to have on. Big O, I disagree with Mr. Shad. Well, Clarence joined the club. I disagree with him on a couple things. That's sports, baby. That's the beauty of sports. Difference of opinions, different cases we state. Nothing wrong with that, man. Had a bunch of things go on yesterday. Remember, they put 5 guys on COVID: Robert Jones, Greg Manx, Duke Riley, Justin Coleman, and Cethan Carter. They all activated from the COVID list. They placed Brandon Jones, Preston Williams, Adam Butler, John Jenkins, and Durval Quirez Neto, who's on the practice squad, but he was also placed on the COVID list. Still on the COVID list, but could come off: Solomon Kinley, Albert Wilson, and then Alan Hearns and Lynn Bowden, but those guys are on the IR. They're out for the year anyways, so it really doesn't matter. They had an injury to Tommy Lee Lewis in the game, so they worked out a couple of special teamers: JoJo Knotson, the wide receiver; Darius Shepard, the wide receiver; Greg Stoneman, the cornerback; Demorne Pearson, the wide receiver; and Trey Quinn, the wide receiver. They worked all of them out. Obviously, they all have returning skills to replace Tommy Lee Lewis. And, they're a little hesitant on using Javon Holland and Jalen Waddle. And we talked about that yesterday. I wouldn't use my two full-time players, especially one of them coming off of foot surgery, to carry the load on special teams and to also do his other duties. I think it's too much for a wide receiver, too much for a safety. Spot duty, I understand, but not full-time. So obviously they've got to find somebody that they're happy with. So that's some of the stuff that went on yesterday on the program. What else do we have here? By the way, did you see that the Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley thing was terrible on the pay-per-views? I did not know that. I did not know that it went that bad. Masvidal trashed them for for having the because apparently it was like 65,000, 70. Like, that's bad, dude. You know what? I was gonna say this. I'm proud of a lot of you out there because I mean I would never pay for anything like that, to be quite honest. I have to go watch it at a friend's house or a bar or something. I'm not spending my money for that garbage, but I have to watch it because I do this for a living, and whatever. So I got to watch it, and I did, and obviously I did not pay for it. Thank the Lord, I would never pay for that. But when I saw that story, I said to myself, "Wow, man, I'm proud of America. They got smart, and they said, you know what, we're not paying for this garbage." And I found that to be really, really cool. That America kind of said, no, 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 enough is enough. We're not going for this stuff. We're not going to pay for this garbage. I like it, man. That to me is growth by folks in this country.
See, I got a different way of looking at it.
Uh-oh.
My way was, okay, you fooled me the first time. I'm not going to get fooled the second time.
Okay.
They smartened up because, again, it's the second fight of Woodley and Paul. They got fooled the first time. Pretty good pay-per-view buys. This time, I'm not falling for it.
Okay. You know what? I can see that. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there has to be a lot of that the people, saw that. And remember, Woodley put up one disgusting performance in that first go-around. And then the second one wasn't much better because obviously you got your ass clocked and knocked out for that money. So, yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. So I'll read the story for you guys. According to some alarming news, the Jake Paul rematch with former MMA champion Tyron Woodley didn't do very well in the PPV department. According to DAZN's Steve Mulhausen, Paul and Woodley rematch sold less than 65,000 pay-per-view buys on cable and satellite. The reporter did note that the streaming numbers are unknown, and it says Masvidal was all about the new report and thrashed Paul in a funny tweet. Said, "Bitch boy can't afford the big boys. Never again do I want to hear my name associated with the fake 305 day incoming. Hashtag super necessary." So Masvidal, which is one guy that I don't know. That's one guy I don't want to piss off. I mean, that guy's crazy and a half. Okay, not just crazy. He's crazy and a half.
Yeah.
All right. Don't mess with that guy.
No, sir.
And by the way, boxing returns to Hialeah Park on January 28th next month on a Friday night. We're going to be broadcasting live out here. We're going to have all kinds of young, talented Cuban boxers. Johnny Arguelados is going to be number 15 in the WBA. He's 8-0 with 4 KOs. He's going to be taking on Michel Banquez, who's got 13 KOs and is 19-1. George Romero is 21-0-1 with 13 KOs, baby. He's in action. Ariel Perez de la Torre is 6-0, a.k.a. La Máquina. He's taking on Gianni Garcia, another Cuban boxer who's 3-1. Abraham Martinez, Mexican boxer who's 9-0-1 with 7 knockouts. taking on a Cuban boxer named Orestes Velasquez, who is 2-0 with 2 KOs, baby. It all starts at 6 o'clock on Friday, the 28th. Sean and I are going to be here. We're going to be here for the weigh-in. We'll be here for the fights. We're going to have some of the boxers and trainers over the next month talking about this event, and we'll be interviewing them and all of that. So, folks, if you're interested, get your tickets. You can go to hialeahpark.com is the website, so you can get your tickets. We will be giving some tickets away here on the show, so make sure you listen. Hopefully by next week, we will have some tickets for you and start to give away some of the tickets for boxing as it returns here to Hialeah Park. I'm really excited about that, man. That's going to be a lot of fun, man. Anthony Campos says, Big O, season 4 of Cobra Kai going to be amazing. I feel you're the best around the theme coming in season 4. Best continuation Hollywood did of a series. I would agree with that. I will admit, when I first was going to see it, I had trepidations. Like, I mean, what are you going to do with this? You know, it's so many years removed. How can you make this relevant and all that? And they did a marvelous job, dude. Marvelous job. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to watching season 4. Big O, are you a big movie buff? What are your favorite films and memories? I love movies, but I don't go to the movie theaters anymore. So that would be one that here at the end of this show, I got to think about something like that and get into it. But that would be, I can tell you that Star Wars is definitely in the mix. It will always be in the mix because that's my favorite movie of all time. Rick Kyle says, what happened here? Because he was about as sure as a prospect since Luck. There's no way everybody was wrong, including Bama. I hope they haven't ruined him. What are you talking about? Tua? Tua's fine, bro. He'll be fine. Huh? You just talking about Tua? Yeah, no, Tua's fine, bro. It's really the people around him that they've got to get it done. All right, folks, we got it done. We thank the Brunetti family, as always. Great supporters of our show. Frank Fiore, Steve Calabro, all the great people out here at Hialeah Park for making it nice and easy for us to do our thing. Appreciate all of you out there, as always, for tuning in. Don't forget to smash the hell out of the like button. It is very, very important that you smash the like button. That's what gets the algorithms going, and it gets the show in front of more people on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Also, hit the notification bell. If you're listening on the podcast, also hit that smash that like button. Also on the podcast. On behalf of Sean Stanley, appreciate all of you out there. We thank Joe Shad, of course, with our American Dream Lending Miami Dolphins report, and Matt Verderame from Fansided. If you miss either one of those interviews, excellent interviews, great insight by both guys. So check that out. We will see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel. We'll be live at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines from 10 to 1. Come on out and say hi. We'll see you tomorrow. Y'all be good out there.
This is the Big O Show.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available, from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
It's the Big